Hello, wonderful people. Welcome to Ben 10 What If, your story destination. We have an absolute treat for you today. What if Ben 10 was in the DC universe? If you're enjoying these stories, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support keeps the stories coming. With that said, let the adventure begin. Chapter 1, Stranger in a Strange League. Ben Tennyson slammed into the pavement hard enough to crack concrete. His head spun as he struggled to his feet, the world around him blurry and unfamiliar. The last thing he remembered was fighting some weird alien tech collector who'd blasted the Omnitrix with some kind of dimensional ray. Okay, that hurt way more than it should have, Ben muttered, rubbing his head. His eyes finally focused on his surroundings, and he froze. Wait, this definitely isn't Bellwood. Towering skyscrapers stretched toward the clouds, nothing unusual there, except these buildings looked nothing like his hometown. A massive golden globe topped the tallest building, with the word Daily Planet wrapped around it. People ran screaming past him, not even noticing the teen sprawled on the sidewalk. What's everyone running from? Ben wondered aloud, then looked up. His jaw dropped. A red and blue blur rocketed through the sky, exchanging punches with what looked like a giant robot. Each impact sent shockwaves through the air. Superman. Ben blinked in disbelief. No way. That's impossible. But there he was, the Man of Steel himself, fighting what appeared to be a walking metal monster that kept changing its appearance after each attack. Great, I've either gone crazy or I'm in a comic book, Ben said to no one in particular, climbing to his feet. Either way, looks like they could use some help. He lifted his wrist, checking the Omnitrix. The device glowed green, fully charged and ready. Ben grinned. Dimensional displacement or not, he knew exactly what to do when giant robots started smashing cities. Hero time. He slammed his palm down on the watch, emerald light engulfing him. His body grew, muscles expanding, skin hardening and turning bright red. Four massive arms burst from his torso as his transformation completed. "For arms," the Tetraman shouted, flexing his newly formed muscles. "Alright, let's see if Superman's real or if I just hit my head way too hard." Four arms leapt into the air, his powerful legs launching him several stories upward. He grabbed the side of a building, using his strength to climb rapidly toward the battle raging overhead. Citizens below pointed up in shock. Another alien. Is that thing with Superman? No, look at him, he's climbing toward the fight. Four arms reached the roof of a 30-story building, giving him a perfect view of the battle. Superman grappled with what Ben now recognized as some kind of adaptive robot. With each exchange, the robot seemed to analyze Superman's abilities, making adjustments to counter them. "Hey, Tin Can!" Four arms shouted, leaping from the rooftop toward the robot. "Try adapting to this." All four fists slammed into the robot's back, sending it plummeting toward the street. Superman hovered in midair, clearly startled by the red giant's sudden appearance. "Who?" Superman started to ask, but Four Arms was already diving after the robot. The machine crashed into an empty bus, crushing it flat. Before it could recover, Four Arms landed on top of it, hammering away with all four arms. The robot's metal skin began to shift, turning redder and bulkier with each impact. "Oh no you don't," Four Arms growled, realizing the robot was copying his Tetraman physiology. "You wanna play copycat? Let's switch things up." He slapped the Omnitrix symbol on his shoulder, transforming in another flash of green light. In Four Arms' place stood a small, blue velociraptor-like alien with wheels for feet and a sleek, aerodynamic build. "XLR-8, he announced, then took off in a blur of motion, circling the robot at supersonic speed. The air crackled with electricity as XLR-8 generated a whirlwind around the machine. The robot struggled to adapt, its form fluctuating between its original state and a half-formed blue speedster. Before it could complete the transformation, XLR-8 skidded to a halt, slapping his Omnitrix again. "Diamond Head." The crystalline alien's hands morphed into sharp blades. Let's see how quick you adapt when you can't figure out what I am. Superman landed beside him, eyes narrowed in suspicion. I don't know who or what you are, but that's Amazo you're fighting, a highly adaptive android. It copies meta-human abilities. Diamondhead grinned, his crystalline face reflecting sunlight. Good thing I'm not just one meta, then. I'm 10,000. Amazo rose from the wreckage, its body now partially crystalline, partially humanoid. It charged forward with incredible speed, but Diamondhead was ready. He slammed his hands into the ground, sending crystal spikes erupting beneath the android, impaling it from below. Now, Superman! Diamondhead shouted. To his relief, the Man of Steel didn't hesitate. His eyes glowed red before twin beams of heat vision sliced through Amazo's chest. The android convulsed, circuit sparking, but its self-repair systems were already activating. It's rebuilding itself, Superman warned. Then let's not give it the chance. Diamondhead touched the Omnitrix again. Heat blast. The fiery alien immediately unleashed a torrent of flames at the damaged android. How about a little meltdown? The intense heat began to liquefy Amazo's metal components. Superman joined in, his heat vision combining with Heatblast's flames until the android was nothing but a puddle of molten technology. That should do it, Heatblast said, dusting off his hands. Unless it can regenerate from complete atomic restructuring, which would be a new level of annoying. It can't, Superman confirmed, hovering slightly above the ground. But it will be rebuilt eventually. Professor Evo always has backups. He crossed his arms, studying the flame-covered alien. Now, who exactly are you? That symbol on your chest, I've never seen anything like it. Heatblast touched the Omnitrix, returning to human form in a flash of green light. A brown-haired teenager stood where the fire alien had been, wearing jeans, sneakers, and a black t-shirt with a green stripe running down the middle. I'm Ben. Ben Tennyson, he said, extending a hand toward the clearly surprised Superman. And I think I'm really, really lost. Superman's eyes widened slightly, but he took the offered hand. Clark Kent. Though you already seem to know who I am. Yeah, about that. Ben rubbed the back of his neck. Where I'm from, you're kind of a comic book character. Same with Batman, Wonder Woman, the whole Justice League. Superman's expression shifted from surprise to careful neutrality. I think we should continue this conversation somewhere more private. The authorities will be here soon to contain what's left of Amazo. Works for me, Ben agreed. Just one question first, this is Earth, right? Just, not my Earth. The multiverse theory, Superman nodded. It's not the first time we've encountered visitors from parallel worlds. How did you get here? Some alien collector dude was after the Omnitrix, Ben explained, tapping the watch-like device on his wrist. He fired some kind of dimensional cannon at me, there was this weird purple explosion, and next thing I know, I'm crash-landing in the middle of Metropolis during a superhero battle. A sleek black jet suddenly descended from the clouds, hovering nearly silently above them. Ben recognized the distinctive bat-shaped design immediately. Let me guess, Ben said with a grin. Batman doesn't trust the weird shape-shifting kid who appeared out of nowhere. Superman actually chuckled. Batman doesn't trust anyone at first. It's kind of his thing. Some things are universal, I guess, Ben shrugged. The Batwing extended a boarding ramp. Superman gestured for Ben to go ahead. After you. I think a lot of people are going to want to hear your story. So in your universe, we're fictional characters in something called DC Comics. The Flash, Barry Allen, looked equal parts amused and disturbed by the concept. Yeah, but obviously you're real here, so. Ben trailed off, glancing around the Justice League's Watchtower conference room. He tried not to look too starstruck, but it wasn't every day you found yourself surrounded by your childhood heroes made flesh and blood. Batman stood silently in the corner, his expression unreadable behind his cowl. Superman and Wonder Woman sat directly across from Ben, while Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, Ben noted, and the Flash flanked them. Martian Manhunter stood beside Batman, his red eyes studying Ben intensely. And this device, the Omnitrix, allows you to transform into thousands of different alien species? Wonder Woman leaned forward, examining the watch-like object on Ben's wrist. 10,000, actually, Ben corrected. Though I haven't unlocked nearly that many. I've got about 60 I can access regularly, plus a few new ones that pop up now and then. May I? She asked, gesturing to the Omnitrix. Ben hesitated but extended his arm. Wonder Woman carefully touched the device, her fingers tracing the alien symbols. I sense ancient power here, she said finally. Not unlike the cosmic energies of New Genesis. Azimuth built it, Ben explained. He's basically the smartest being in my universe. The Omnitrix was supposed to be a way for different species to understand each other by literally walking in each other's shoes, or tentacles, or whatever. Instead, it became the most powerful weapon in the galaxy. And it bonded to you permanently? Superman asked. Pretty much. It's coded to my DNA now. Batman finally spoke, his voice a low growl that matched his comic book counterpart perfectly. You realize how convenient this all sounds. A teenager with the power of 10,000 aliens appears just as Amazo is rampaging through Metropolis. Ben snorted. Yeah, because I totally plan to get blasted across dimensions into a world where I have no friends, no family, and no idea how to get home. Perfect plan. Bruce, Superman said quietly. I saw him fight. He had multiple opportunities to flee or attack civilians. Instead, he helped stop Amazo. His story is true, Martian Manhunter added. I've scanned his surface thoughts. He is indeed from another reality where our lives are portrayed in entertainment media. His confusion and concern are genuine. Ben's eyes widened. Wait, you read my mind. Not cool, dude. My apologies, John said, actually sounding remorseful. It's standard procedure for unknown entities who enter the watchtower. John only skimmed surface thoughts to verify your story, Wonder Woman assured him. Your deeper memories remain private. Ben crossed his arms. Still feels like a privacy invasion, but whatever. The point is, I need to figure out how to get home. My family's probably freaking out, and Grandpa Max is probably tearing the galaxy apart looking for me. Grandpa Max? Green Lantern asked. Maxwell Tennyson. Former plumber, that's like space police in my universe. He's the reason I didn't completely mess up when I first found the Omnitrix 6 years ago. Batman tapped something on his wrist computer. We'll need to run more tests to determine exactly which parallel Earth you're from. The dimensional barriers between worlds have different frequencies. If we can isolate yours, we might be able to create a portal to send you home, Flash finished, his eyes lighting up with scientific excitement. Cisco and I have been working on cross-dimensional travel equipment. This could be the perfect test case. Ben's expression brightened. Seriously? You guys can actually do that? Potentially, Batman cautioned. It will take time. In the meantime, Superman said, you'll need somewhere to stay. And we should keep an eye on you, for your protection as much as anything else. If word gets out about the Omnitrix's capabilities. Every villain on the planet will be after me, Ben finished grimly. Been there, done that, got the mental scars to prove it. Wonder Woman smiled sympathetically. You speak like someone who has carried a great burden from a young age. Found the Omnitrix when I was 10, Ben explained. Spent my summers fighting aliens, my school years pretending to be normal, and my teens trying to balance both. You know how it goes. The Justice League exchanged glances, something unspoken passing between them. You'll stay at Mount Justice, Batman decided. The team can keep an eye on you. The team? Ben raised an eyebrow. Young Justice, Flash clarified with a grin. Our covert ops squad of younger heroes. Nightwing, Superboy, Miss Martian, and others. They're closer to your age. And they'll report directly to us if anything seems suspicious, Batman added bluntly. Ben rolled his eyes. Of course they will. Look, I get it. Trust issues. If I suddenly showed up in my world claiming to be, I don't know, Spider-Man, I'd be suspicious too. Spider-Man? Green Lantern repeated. Different comic company, Ben waved dismissively. Point is, I'll play along. But I'm not sitting on my hands while I'm stuck here. If there's trouble and I can help, I'm helping. Superman and Wonder Woman exchanged another look. We wouldn't expect otherwise, Superman finally said. But you'll need to follow our protocols. This isn't your world, Ben. Things work differently here. Fair enough, Ben agreed. So, when do I meet this Young Justice? Mount Justice looked exactly like it did in the Young Justice cartoon back home, a hollowed-out mountain overlooking a peaceful bay. The Zeta Tube deposited Ben, Batman, and Black Canary inside the main hall with a computerized announcement that sounded eerily familiar. Recognized, Batman, 02. Black Canary, 13. Guest, B08. Guess that's me, Ben muttered. B08. Until we determine if your stay is temporary, Batman explained, striding forward. Black Canary will handle your orientation and introduce you to the team. Thanks for the warm welcome, Ben said sarcastically. Black Canary actually smiled. Don't mind him. He's like this with everyone at first. Oh, I know, Ben assured her. Where I'm from, Batman's trust issues have their own trust issues. A laugh echoed through the cave as a young man in a black and blue uniform with an emblem across his chest stepped from the shadows. His eyes were masked, but his smile was genuine. He's got you pegged, Batman, Nightwing said. Nightwing will take it from here, Batman said, ignoring the comment. Without another word, he turned and walked back to the Zeta Tube, vanishing in a flash of light. Always dramatic with the exits, Nightwing shook his head, then extended a hand to Ben. I'm Nightwing. Former Robin, current leader of the team. Ben Tennyson, Ben replied, shaking his hand. Current dimensional refugee, apparently. Batman briefed me, Nightwing nodded. Shapeshifter with a wrist-mounted alien device, claims to be from a parallel Earth where we're all comic book characters. When you put it that way, I sound completely nuts, Ben grimaced. Actually, it's Tuesday for us, Nightwing chuckled. Come on, the others are training. He led Ben through a series of corridors, Black Canary following behind them. The walls were carved directly from the mountain stone, reinforced with technology that looked straight out of a sci-fi movie, or it would have, if Ben hadn't seen even more advanced tech on Alien Worlds. So Batman stuck you with babysitting duty, huh? Ben asked as they walked. More like evaluation duty, Nightwing corrected, his tone light but his meaning clear. Batman wants to know if you're a potential threat or a potential ally. And what do you think? Nightwing glanced back, his masked eyes somehow conveying amusement. I think anyone who rushes in to help Superman fight Amazo without hesitation either has a death wish or genuinely wants to help people. You don't strike me as the suicidal type. Been called a lot of things, but never suicidal, Ben agreed. They reached a large open training area where several teenagers were engaged in combat practice. Ben recognized some from the cartoons, Superboy grappling with a bulky, armored teen who had to be Blue Beetle, Miss Martian hovering above, directing combat scenarios, a blonde girl with a bow who was probably Artemis. The training paused as they entered, all eyes turning to the newcomer. Team, this is Ben Tennyson, Black Canary announced. He'll be staying with us while the League determines how to send him back to his dimension. Another interdimensional traveler. Blue Beetle's armor suddenly seemed to shift, and Ben noticed him cocking his head as if listening to someone. What? No, I'm not going to ask him that, essay. The scarab, Nightwing explained quietly to Ben. Alien technology bonded to Jamie's spine. Sometimes they disagree. I get it, Ben nodded. Sometimes the Omnitrix has a mind of its own too. The Omnitrix? Superboy stepped forward, his eyes narrowing slightly. That's the device Batman mentioned. The one that lets you turn into aliens. Want a demonstration? Ben offered with a grin, already reaching for the watch. Not inside, Black Canary cut in firmly. We have designated areas for power testing. For now, just get acquainted. The next hour was a whirlwind of introductions and explanations. Besides Nightwing, Superboy, Connor, Miss Martian, Gan, Blue Beetle, Jamie, and Artemis, Ben also met Beast Boy, Garfield, Wonder Girl, Cassie, and Robin, Tim Drake, the third Robin according to Nightwing. So in your world, we're all cartoon characters? Beast Boy asked excitedly. Do I have my own show? Please tell me I have my own show. Sorry, Ben laughed. You're part of the Teen Titans and Young Justice shows. But you're pretty popular. Sweet. Beast Boy pumped his fist. What about movies? Do I get any epic lines? Gan chided gently, maybe we shouldn't know too much about alternate versions of ourselves. She's right, Nightwing agreed. Temporal Mechanics 101, knowing too much about potential futures or alternates can cause problems. Spoilsports, Beast Boy muttered, his green skin shifting slightly as his ears drooped. Superboy had been quiet, studying Ben intensely. This watch of yours, he finally said. How does it work, exactly? Ben lifted his wrist, displaying the Omnitrix. It stores the DNA of different alien species in a kind of quantum matrix. When I activate it, it temporarily overwrites my DNA with the selected aliens, transforming me completely. I get all their abilities, instincts, even some basic knowledge. And you control which form you take? Robin asked, his analytical tone reminding Ben of Batman. Usually, Ben shrugged. Sometimes it gives me the wrong alien, especially in emergencies. I've gotten better at working with whatever it gives me. How many aliens can you turn into? Wonder Girl asked, her eyes wide with curiosity. Right now? About 60 that I use regularly. But there are thousands more locked in the database. That's impressive, Artemis admitted. And potentially dangerous. Which is why you're all going to help evaluate him, Black Canary said, stepping forward. Ben, we've prepared temporary quarters for you. Tomorrow, we'll begin power assessment and training integration. The League wants to know your capabilities. And keep an eye on me, Ben added. Yes, she admitted frankly. That too. Fair enough, Ben nodded. So, who's gonna give me the grand tour? The grand tour ended up being conducted by Beast Boy and Wonder Girl, both of whom bombarded Ben with questions about his world and his powers. Ben found their enthusiasm refreshing after Batman's suspicion and Superboy's intense scrutiny. So which alien is your favorite? Beast Boy asked as they showed Ben the kitchen area. Tough call, Ben replied, grabbing an apple from a fruit bowl. I use Humongousaur a lot, big dinosaur guy, super strong. But feedback's probably my go-to these days. He absorbs and redirects energy. Like black lightning. Wonder Girl exclaimed. Sort of, but more versatile, Ben took a bite of the apple. What about you, Beast Boy? What's your favorite animal to turn into? Pterodactyl, Garfield answered without hesitation. Flying is the best. Plus, dinosaurs are awesome. Can't argue with that, Ben grinned. I've got an alien form called Astrodactyl that's basically a pterodactyl with energy powers and a jetpack. No way. Beast Boy's eyes widened. You have to show me. Tomorrow, Wonder Girl reminded him. Canary said power assessment is tomorrow. They continued the tour, showing Ben the training rooms, the library, the medical bay, and finally his quarters, a simple but comfortable room with a bed, desk, and attached bathroom. "It's not much," Wonder Girl apologized, "but it's private." "Trust me, I've slept in way worse places," Ben assured her. "One time I had to spend a week in a Tetramand war camp. Their idea of a bed is basically a rock slab." "Tetra what?" Beast Boy blinked. "For armed species," Ben explained. "Big red guys with, well, 4 arms." "This is so cool," Garfield shook his head in amazement. "It's like having a living alien encyclopedia." "I'll let you get settled," Wonder Girl said. "Dinner's at 7 in the common area. Don't be late, Superboy gets grumpy when food gets cold." After they left, Ben flopped onto the bed, staring at the ceiling. The reality of his situation was finally sinking in. He was stuck in a parallel universe, one he'd read about and watched since childhood, but still completely alien to him. "No Gwen, no Kevin, no Grandpa Max." "Azimuth would know what to do," Ben muttered, lifting his wrist to examine the Omnitrix. "Too bad interdimensional communication isn't one of your features." The device glowed its standard green, apparently functioning normally despite the dimensional travel. Ben cycled through the alien selection screen, confirming all his transformations were still available. "At least I've got you," he told the watch. "And hey, how many people get to team up with actual superheroes?" A knock at his door interrupted his thoughts. "Come in," Ben called, sitting up. The door slid open to reveal Nightwing. "Getting settled?" "As much as anyone can when they're universe hopping," Ben shrugged. Nightwing entered, letting the door close behind him. "I wanted to talk to you privately," he said, his tone more serious than before. "Let me guess, more evaluation?" Ben raised an eyebrow. "Something like that," Nightwing admitted. He pulled up the desk chair and sat down. "Batman's cautious by nature, but I prefer to make my own judgments. And I think you're telling the truth about who you are and where you're from," Nightwing said. "But there's something else going on here." Ben frowned. "What do you mean?" "Interdimensional travel doesn't just happen randomly, Ben. Even with some alien collector targeting your watch. The timing is convenient." "Convenient how?" Nightwing leaned forward. "We've been tracking a series of technological thefts across the country. Advanced robotics, quantum computing components, experimental energy sources. Nothing connected on the surface, but all technologies that could theoretically be used to create or stabilize interdimensional portals." Ben's eyes widened in realization. "You think someone brought me here on purpose?" "I think it's possible," Nightwing nodded. "The question is why? What makes Ben Tennyson valuable enough to pull across dimensions?" Ben glanced down at the Omnitrix. "Isn't it obvious? 10,000 aliens in one convenient package. In my universe, everyone from petty warlords to cosmic entities has tried to get their hands on this thing." "Maybe," Nightwing agreed. "But why now? Why here? And how did they even know about you if you're from a different universe entirely?" "Those are, actually really good questions," Ben admitted. "I don't have answers." "Neither do we, yet," Nightwing stood. "But we're working on it. In the meantime, keep your eyes open. If someone did bring you here intentionally, they'll make a move eventually." "Great," Ben sighed. "Just when I thought being stuck in a comic book universe couldn't get any weirder." "Welcome to our world," Nightwing smiled, heading for the door. "By the way, power assessment tomorrow isn't just about evaluation. We want to help you integrate with the team's combat protocols if you're going to be here a while. Your abilities could be a valuable asset." "So I'm a potential teammate, not just a prisoner?" Ben asked. "You were never a prisoner, Ben," Nightwing corrected. "Just an unknown variable. And in our line of work, unknown variables get people killed." After Nightwing left, Ben lay back down, his mind racing. If someone had deliberately pulled him into this universe, they had to be incredibly powerful, and likely dangerous. But why go through all that trouble? The Omnitrix was valuable, sure, but there had to be powerful artifacts in the DC universe too. Unless what they wanted wasn't just the Omnitrix itself, but something specific Ben could do with it. This just keeps getting better, he muttered, staring at the ceiling. The power assessment the next day turned out to be more fun than Ben expected. Black Canary had set up a specialized training area in a massive cavern beneath Mount Justice, with various obstacles, targets, and monitoring equipment. "Show us what you've got," she encouraged. "Start with something basic." Ben grinned, activating the Omnitrix and cycling through his available aliens. "Let's kick things off with a classic." He slammed down the dial, emerald light engulfing him. When it faded, a muscular, tiger-like alien with no eyes, massive claws, and gill-like features on his neck stood in Ben's place. "Wrath," he roared. "Let me tell you something, Black Canary, premier combat trainer of the Justice League. Wrath is going to show you assessment like you've never seen before." Around the observation area, the young Justice team stared in varying states of surprise and amusement. "Is he, always like that in that form?" Robin asked. "The aggression levels are off the charts," Superboy noted, his enhanced hearing picking up Wrath's heart rate. "Let me tell you something, Superboy, clone of Superman with anger management issues. Wrath's aggression is perfectly managed. By being unmanaged." Wrath charged at the obstacle course, demolishing concrete barriers with single punches, leaping over electrified barriers, and generally causing as much destruction as possible while completing the course. "Impressive strength," Black Canary noted, tapping data into a tablet. "Somewhat limited strategic thinking, though. Wrath doesn't need strategy. Wrath just needs a face to put his fist in. Perhaps we should see a different transformation," Black Canary suggested tactfully. "Fine." Wrath slapped the Omnitrix symbol on his chest. In another flash of green, a small, frog-like alien stood in Wrath's place. "Gray Matter," the tiny being announced in a high-pitched, intelligent voice. "Now this is more appropriate for strategic assessment." "Whoa!" Beast Boy exclaimed. "He's even smaller than I can get as a fly." Gray Matter leapt onto a computer console, his tiny fingers flying over the keys. "The obstacle course design is quite efficient, though I notice several structural weaknesses that could be improved. For instance, the third barrier utilizes a standard titanium alloy when a carbon polymer composite would provide the same strength at half the weight." "He's accessing our systems," Robin warned, stepping forward. "Just the training protocols," Gray Matter assured him. "I'm merely demonstrating my intelligence capabilities in this form. For instance." He tapped a few more keys, and suddenly the obstacle course reconfigured itself into a far more complex arrangement. "Impressive," Black Canary admitted. "What else can you do?" Over the next 2 hours, Ben cycled through a dozen different transformations, demonstrating each alien's unique abilities. Diamond Head's crystal manipulation and durability. XLR-8's super speed. Heat Blast's pyrokinesis. Big Chill's intangibility and ice powers. Swampfire's regeneration and plant control. The Young Justice team watched with growing interest, occasionally testing themselves against Ben's aliens in brief sparring matches. Flash arrived midway through, clearly excited to race XLR-8 around the mountain several times. Flash won, but not by as much as he expected. "The versatility is incredible," Nightwing commented as Ben demonstrated Goop's amorphous, acid-like properties. "Each form has distinct advantages and disadvantages. Which makes tactical deployment crucial," Black Canary agreed. "Ben, how quickly can you switch between forms?" Ben reverted to human form with a flash of red light. "Pretty much instantly, but the Omnitrix needs a few minutes to recharge after each transformation. Unless I'm switching directly from one alien to another, then there's no cooldown." "And how long can you stay transformed?" Robin asked. "Used to be 10 minutes when I was a kid," but now it's basically until I manually change back or the Omnitrix times out from energy depletion. I can go for hours if I need to. What about weaknesses? Superboy crossed his arms. Every power has a weakness. Each alien form has its own vulnerabilities, Ben explained. Heat Blast is weak against water. Big Chill can't phase through certain energy fields. And some situations just call for specific aliens. Trying to use Wrath for a stealth mission would be a disaster. The biggest vulnerability appears to be the transformation process itself, Black Canary noted. You're briefly vulnerable during the change. Yeah, learned that the hard way over the years, Ben admitted. I've gotten better at timing my transformations to minimize the risk, but it's still a weak point. We could work on that, Nightwing suggested. Develop some defensive maneuvers to cover you during transformations. I'd appreciate that, Ben said sincerely. Back home, my cousin Gwen and my friend Kevin usually have my back during fights. You miss them, Gwen said softly, her empathic abilities picking up on Ben's emotions. Ben looked away. Yeah. They're probably worried sick. Gwen's probably trying every magic spell she knows to track me, and Kevin's probably threatening every alien informant in the galaxy. Magic spells? Artemis raised an eyebrow. Gwen's part Anodite, energy beings from Anodyne. She can manipulate mana, life energy. Cast spells, create shields, track people across star systems. Super useful. We have magic users here too, Wonder Girl mentioned. Zatanna, Dr. Fate. Maybe they could help find a way to contact your dimension. Worth a shot, Ben agreed. So, did I pass your power assessment? Black Canary smiled. With flying colors. Your abilities would be an asset to any team. Which is why Batman and I agree you should train with Young Justice while you're here. Ben's eyes lit up. Seriously? I'm on the team. Provisionally, she clarified. You'll participate in training and certain missions where your abilities would be particularly useful. Consider it a cultural exchange while we work on getting you home. Nightwing stepped forward, offering his hand. Welcome aboard, Ben 10. Ben shook it, a genuine smile spreading across his face. Thanks. I promise you won't regret it. Don't make promises you can't keep, Superboy muttered, though there was less hostility in his tone than before. Don't mind Connor, Gen said quickly. He takes a while to warm up to people. Trust me, I've dealt with grumpier, Ben assured her, thinking of Kevin's early days. So, when's my first mission? As if on cue, the cave's alert system activated, red lights flashing as a computerized voice announced, Alert, metahuman incident in progress. Central City. Star Labs breach reported. Looks like right now, Nightwing said grimly. Suit up, everyone. Ben, you're with me, Superboy, and Miss Martian. Let's see how you handle real action in our universe. The bioship, a living Martian vessel controlled by Mgan's telepathy, reminded Ben of Ship, Julie's galvanic mechamorph pet back home. It reconfigured to accommodate the team, creating a seat specifically for Ben near the front. This is so cool, Ben said, examining the organic technology. We have shape-shifting technology where I'm from, but nothing this, alive. The bioship is semi-sentient, Mgan explained proudly. She responds to my thoughts but has her own personality too. Approaching Central City, Nightwing announced from his seat. Initial reports indicate multiple hostiles at Star Labs' Quantum Physics Division. Witnesses described robots stealing experimental technology. Robots again? Superboy frowned. Like a Mazo? Unknown, Nightwing tapped his holographic computer. But the timing is suspicious, given our dimensional visitor. He glanced meaningfully at Ben. You think this is connected to me somehow, Ben stated. It's possible, Nightwing admitted. Star Labs has been working on quantum barrier research, the kind of science that might relate to interdimensional travel. Great, Ben sighed. I've been here less than 2 days and I'm already causing problems. Or you're the solution to a problem that was already here, Gan suggested kindly. We won't know until we investigate. The bioship descended, becoming transparent from the inside as it approached Star Labs, a massive complex of white buildings with a distinctive star-shaped logo. Smoke rose from one section, emergency vehicles surrounding the perimeter. Stealth mode, Nightwing ordered as the ship landed on the roof. Gan, link us up. Ben felt a strange tingling in his head, then suddenly heard Gan's voice without her speaking aloud, psychic link established. Everyone online. Superboy here, came Connor's mental voice. Nightwing, connected, added their leader. Whoa, this is weird, Ben thought, feeling the others receive his mental message. Cool, but definitely weird. You get used to it, Superboy replied. Makes coordination easier in the field. The team exited the bioship, which camouflaged itself once empty. Gan shifted her appearance, her skin turning white as her costume changed to a more stealth-oriented black outfit. Nightwing led them to a roof access door, quickly bypassing the security system. What's the plan? Ben asked. Reconnaissance first, Nightwing replied. We need to identify the intruders and their objective before engaging. Gan, sweep for mines. I sense several humans, scientists, security, all frightened, Gan reported as they descended a stairwell. But there are gaps. Areas where I should sense something but don't. Robots, Superboy concluded. No biological minds to read. Exactly my thought, Nightwing agreed. Ben, which of your forms works best for stealth? Ben considered his options. I've got Big Chill, can turn invisible and phase through walls. Or XLR-8 for speed reconnaissance. Big Chill sounds perfect. Take point with Gan. Superboy, stay close to me, your senses might pick up what we can't. Ben activated the Omnitrix, selecting the moth-like alien silhouette. In a flash of green, the blue, moth-like alien appeared, his wings folded around him like a cloak. Big Chill, he announced mentally. I'll scout ahead. The ghostly alien turned invisible and phased through the floor, descending directly into the laboratory levels. Gan followed, using her own intangibility to keep pace. What they found below confirmed Nightwing's suspicions. A dozen humanoid robots methodically dismantling and collecting pieces of equipment from what appeared to be an advanced physics laboratory. Scientists cowered behind overturned tables, while security guards lay unconscious near the entrance. Big Chill hovered near the ceiling, observing. We've got about 12 robot hostiles, he reported through the link. Humanoid design, taking apart some kind of quantum stabilizer, I think. Hard to tell from here. Any markings or insignia? Nightwing asked. Big Chill studied the robots more carefully. Small logo on their chest plates. Looks like an L inside a circle. LexCorp, Superboy growled mentally. Luthor. What would Lex Luthor want with quantum physics equipment? Gan wondered. Whatever it is, it can't be good, Nightwing replied. Ben, Gan, do you think you can disable one of those robots without alerting the others? We need to examine their programming. Leave it to me, Big Chill responded. He drifted invisibly toward an isolated robot that was packaging components into a specialized container. Once directly behind it, Big Chill became visible just long enough to exhale a freezing breath that completely encased the robot in thick ice. The other robots immediately stopped their work, heads swiveling toward their frozen comrade. So much for the element of surprise, Superboy muttered as the remaining robots activated weapons systems, red targeting lasers scanning the room. Intruder detected, announced one robot in a mechanical voice. Security protocol activated. So much for stealth, Nightwing sighed. Engage. Superboy crashed through the ceiling, landing with enough force to crack the floor. Gan flew in behind him, telekinetically grabbing two robots and smashing them together. Nightwing swung in through a ventilation shaft, throwing several wingdings that embedded themselves in robot torsos before detonating with small explosions. Big Chill phased through several robots, freezing their internal components from the inside out. They collapsed, systems failing as ice crystals formed throughout their circuitry. These aren't standard LexCorp security drones, Nightwing observed aloud, dodging an energy blast from one robot. The technology is more advanced. Less talking, more smashing, Superboy grunted, ripping the head off a robot that had tried to tackle him. Big Chill phased back into visibility beside the quantum device the robots had been dismantling. I think I know what they're after. This looks like a quantum field stabilizer, the kind of thing you'd need to create or maintain dimensional portals. Before anyone could respond, a new voice echoed through the laboratory. Very perceptive, alien shapeshifter. A tall, bald man in an immaculate business suit stepped through the doorway, flanked by two larger, more heavily armed robots. Despite never having seen him in person before, Ben instantly recognized Lex Luthor from countless comics and cartoons. Luthor, Superboy snarled, taking a step forward. Now, clone, Luthor smiled coldly. Is that any way to greet your intellectual father? What do you want with quantum technology, Lex? Nightwing demanded, batarangs ready in both hands. Quantum technology? You misunderstand. Luthor's eyes fixed on Big Chill. What I'm interested in is standing right there. Or rather, what's attached to his wrist. Big Chill narrowed his eyes. The Omnitrix isn't for sale, Luthor. Everything has a price, Luthor replied smoothly. Though I'd settle for merely examining it. A device capable of rewriting DNA on command. The medical applications alone would be worth billions. He's stalling, Gen warned mentally. I sense more minds approaching, human ones. Armed. Sorry, but I've heard better sales pitches from actual alien warlords, Big Chill replied, touching the Omnitrix symbol on his chest. In a flash of green light, he transformed into a small, amphibian-like alien. Crashhopper. The spring-legged alien launched himself directly at Luthor, only for one of the guard robots to intercept him mid-air, electric current coursing through its metal hands as it grabbed him. Predictable, Luthor sighed. Unlike Amazo, these robots don't copy powers, they counter them. I've had my scientists studying footage of your battle in Metropolis. Crashhopper struggled against the robot's grip, then hit the Omnitrix again. Humongosaur. The dinosaur-like alien's sudden size increase shattered the robot's grip. Humongosaur grew even larger, reaching nearly 20 feet tall as his skin hardened into a more armored form. Let's see your robots counter this, he roared, bringing both massive fists down on the remaining guard robot, flattening it instantly. Luthor merely stepped back, appearing unconcerned. Impressive. But ultimately futile. Superboy leapt at Luthor, only to be repelled by a previously invisible energy shield. Coward, he shouted. Always hiding behind your technology. It's called intelligence, clone, Luthor replied calmly. Something your programming apparently lacks. Enough. Nightwing shouted. Luthor, you're under arrest for corporate espionage, assault, and attempted theft of federal property. Am I? Luthor raised an eyebrow. I think you'll find all the proper requisition forms were filed. LexCorp has a legitimate contract with the Department of Energy to acquire surplus quantum technology for clean energy research. That's a lie, one of the scientists called from behind an overturned desk. Those robots were stealing our prototypes. A simple misunderstanding, Luthor shrugged. My acquisition team was overzealous. I'll be happy to compensate Star Labs for any damages. Humongosaur stomped forward, shrinking down to a more manageable 12 feet tall. Cut the act, Luthor. What do you really want with dimensional tech? And how did you know I'd be here? For the first time, Luthor's composed expression faltered slightly. I don't know what you're implying. I came to personally oversee the acquisition of valuable technology. Finding Batman's new alien pet here was merely serendipitous. He's lying, Dan confirmed through the link. But it's strange, he genuinely seems surprised by Ben's accusation. So he didn't bring me here? Ben asked mentally. I can't tell for certain, Dan replied. His mind is heavily shielded. But he seems genuinely interested in the Omnitrix, like it's something new to him. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Luthor checked his watch. As fascinating as this encounter has been, I have a board meeting in 20 minutes. He touched something on his wrist, and a small portal opened behind him. We'll continue this discussion another time, Mr. Tennyson. Wait. Humongosaur lunged forward, but Luthor stepped backward through the portal, which closed instantly. Damn it. Superboy punched a wall in frustration. He got away again. Nightwing was already examining the destroyed robots. Maybe not entirely. These might tell us something about his plans. Humongosaur reverted to Ben in a flash of red light. He knew my name, Ben said, troubled. And he wasn't surprised by the Omnitrix at all. Luthor has surveillance everywhere, Nightwing explained. He probably observed your arrival and battle with Amazo, then researched whatever he could find. But there shouldn't be anything to find, Ben insisted. I'm from a different universe, remember? Which means someone provided him information, Gan concluded. Someone who knows about you and your world. The implications hung heavy in the air as police and Flash arrived on the scene. While Nightwing briefed the authorities, Ben helped secure the remaining robot parts for transport back to the Watchtower. I don't like this, Ben told Superboy as they worked. In my universe, when villains start collecting weird tech, it usually ends with someone trying to conquer the world. Welcome to our universe, Superboy replied grimly. Same story, different day. The quantum stabilizer they were after, Ben continued, picking up a damaged component. In theory, something like this could help create a stable bridge between dimensions. You think Luthor's trying to reach your world? Superboy frowned. Or bring something from it here, Ben added. Either way, it can't be good. Flash sipped over to them, vibrating with his characteristic energy. Hey, you must be the dimension-hopping kid Batman mentioned. Ben, right? Barry Allen. He extended a hand, which Ben shook. Sorry about all this. First week in our universe and already dealing with Luthor. Talk about a rough welcome. I'm used to it, Ben shrugged. Where I'm from, trouble usually finds me whether I want it to or not. Batman wants all this tech brought to the Watchtower for analysis, Flash explained, gesturing to the robot remains. And he specifically requested you join the briefing, Ben. Me? Why? Because whatever Luthor's planning, Flash said seriously, it seems to revolve around you and that watch of yours. And Batman hates unknowns almost as much as he hates Luthor. The Justice League Watchtower was even more impressive than Mount Justice. The space station orbited Earth, providing spectacular views of the blue planet through massive observation windows. Ben tried not to look too starstruck as he followed Flash through the gleaming corridors. This place is incredible, he admitted. We have space stations in my universe, but nothing this elegant. Wait till you see the cafeteria, Flash grinned. Zero-G food fights are strictly prohibited, but they happen anyway. They reached the main conference room where Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and several other League members were already gathered. Nightwing was presenting findings from the Star Labs incident, with holographic displays showing the destroyed robots and stolen technology. Quantum field manipulation technology, Nightwing was explaining as they entered. Specifically designed to stabilize wormholes and potentially create bridges between dimensional barriers. Similar to the cosmic treadmill technology, Flash added, taking his seat. But more focused on maintaining stable apertures rather than creating them. Batman nodded toward Ben. Mr. Tennyson. Join us. Ben awkwardly took an empty seat between Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter, feeling very much like the new kid in class. As I was saying, Nightwing continued, the LexCorp robots were specifically targeting components that would be useful for dimensional exploration. And Luthor himself seemed particularly interested in Ben's Omnitrix. Which raises several questions, Batman said, turning toward Ben. The timing of your arrival, followed immediately by Luthor's interest in dimensional technology, suggests a connection. I already told you everything I know, Ben insisted. I was fighting some alien collector, there was a weird purple explosion, and boom, I'm in comic book land. Comic book land, Green Lantern repeated with a smirk. Still getting used to that idea. Perhaps we should examine the Omnitrix more closely, Batman suggested. It may contain data about the dimensional transfer. Ben instinctively covered the device with his other hand. No offense, but the last time someone tried to examine the Omnitrix, they nearly caused a universal meltdown. This thing isn't just technology, it's the most sophisticated piece of equipment in my universe. And potentially the key to getting you home, Superman pointed out gently. Or the reason someone brought you here in the first place, Batman added. Ben sighed, looking down at the device. Look, I get your concerns. But there's only one person I trust to mess with the Omnitrix, and he's literally galaxies away in another dimension. The best I can do is try accessing the transformation log, sometimes it records energy signatures during activation. How would you do that? Wonder Woman asked. I need to transform into gray matter, my hyper-intelligent form. He understands the Omnitrix better than I do. Batman nodded. Proceed. Ben activated the Omnitrix, scrolling through the alien silhouettes until he found gray matter. With a flash of green light, the tiny, frog-like alien appeared, standing on the conference table. Let's see what we can discover, Gray Matter said, examining the Omnitrix symbol on his back. His tiny fingers manipulated it in complex patterns, occasionally stopping to mutter calculations to himself. The League watched with varying degrees of fascination as the diminutive alien worked, occasionally projecting holographic Galvan script into the air above him. Fascinating, Gray Matter finally announced. The Omnitrix did indeed record the dimensional transfer event. The energy signature is unlike anything I've encountered before, not standard null-void energy, nor typical teleportation. Can you determine the source? Batman asked. Not precisely, Gray Matter admitted. But I can confirm it wasn't generated by the device that hit me. That was merely a catalyst. The actual dimensional bridge originated from this side of the multiverse. So someone here pulled you through, Superman concluded. Precisely. And whoever it was possessed technology far beyond Earth standard. These energy patterns resemble Thanagarian dimensional folding, but with elements of something else. Gray Matter frowned. Something ancient and powerful. Can you use the Omnitrix to return to your dimension? Wonder Woman inquired. Gray Matter shook his head. Not directly. The Omnitrix wasn't designed for dimensional travel. However, his eyes lit up suddenly. The energy pattern is still residually present in the Omnitrix's matrix. With the right equipment, we could potentially amplify and replicate it, creating a return portal. What kind of equipment? Batman asked. The kind Luthor was stealing, Gray Matter realized. A quantum field stabilizer, coupled with a massive energy source and specialized focusing apparatus. Flash leaned forward. Like the Star Labs particle accelerator in Central City? That could work, Gray Matter agreed. But we'd need additional components, and a way to safely channel the energy without ripping a hole in the space-time continuum. So our mystery dimensional Fisher not only knew exactly who to target from another universe, Green Lantern summarized, but also knew they'd need specialized equipment to do it that just happens to be on Earth. Which narrows the list of suspects considerably, Batman concluded. Someone with knowledge of the multiverse, advanced technology, and a specific interest in either Ben or the Omnitrix. Gray Matter touched the Omnitrix symbol, reverting to Ben in a flash of red light. In my experience, when people go to this much trouble, they usually want one of two things, to steal the Omnitrix or to kill me. Sometimes both. Cheery outlook, Flash commented. Realistic, Batman corrected. We need to determine whether Luthor is the mastermind or merely another pawn. What's our next move? Superman asked. Two-pronged approach, Batman decided. First, we continue analyzing the robotic remains from Star Labs for any clues about their origin and programming. Second, we place Ben with the team for close protection while maintaining the appearance of normal training and integration. So I'm bait, Ben concluded. You're an asset, Batman corrected. And potentially a target. Both require protection and proper deployment. Ben couldn't argue with that logic, even if he didn't like being kept in the dark. Fine. But I want to be involved in the investigation. This involves me directly. Agreed, Batman nodded. You'll work with Nightwing and the team on tracking Luthor's movements and identifying potential dimensional technology. In the meantime, we'll begin gathering the components necessary for your eventual return home. As the meeting concluded, Superman approached Ben privately. How are you holding up? He asked with genuine concern. Honestly? Ben sighed. I've been in weirder situations. At least here, people speak English and the air is breathable. Superman smiled. That's a good attitude to have. Listen, I know Batman can be intense. But he's just being cautious. I get it, Ben assured him. In his place, I'd be suspicious too. Besides, I've dealt with worse. There's this plumber named Blukik back home who thinks every alien is suspicious, especially ones with the Omnitrix. Plumber? Superman raised an eyebrow. Intergalactic law enforcement, Ben explained. My grandpa was one. It's a long story. I'd like to hear it sometime, Superman said sincerely. In the meantime, if you need anything, advice, help, just someone to talk to, I'm available. Thanks, Ben replied, genuinely touched by the offer. That means a lot, especially coming from, well, Superman. Clark, Superman corrected with a smile. When we're not in the field, I'm just Clark. Right, Ben laughed. Superman is just Clark, Wonder Woman is just Diana, and Batman is just the terrifying shadow in the corner. Superman laughed. You've got us figured out already. As they headed back toward the Zeta tubes to return to Earth, Ben felt a strange mix of emotions. He was worried about getting home, concerned about whoever had brought him here, and frustrated by the lack of answers. But at the same time, there was an undeniable thrill to working alongside the Justice League, heroes he'd grown up reading about. If he had to be stranded in a parallel universe, at least it was one with good company. The following week fell into a surprisingly comfortable routine. By day, Ben trained with the Young Justice team, learning their combat protocols while teaching them about his various alien forms. By night, he joined Nightwing in investigating LexCorp's activities, searching for clues about Luthor's involvement in his dimensional displacement. The team quickly warmed to Ben, especially after seeing him in action. Beast Boy became his unofficial tour guide to all things Earth-16, as the League had designated this particular universe. Robin and Ben bonded over video games, while Blue Beetle found common ground in dealing with alien technology attached to their bodies. Even Superboy gradually became less standoffish, especially after Ben used Humongosaur to help him move equipment in the hangar. Only Nightwing remained somewhat reserved, his detective mind clearly working overtime whenever Ben was around. You don't completely trust me yet, Ben observed during one late-night surveillance operation. They were perched on a rooftop overlooking a LexCorp subsidiary in Gotham City, watching for unusual shipments. I don't completely trust anyone, Nightwing replied without looking away from his binoculars. Batman's first lesson. Fair enough, Ben shrugged. For what it's worth, I don't think you're secretly an evil alien overlord either. That got a small smile from Nightwing. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Seriously though, Ben continued, you've been analyzing me all week. What's your assessment so far? Nightwing finally lowered the binoculars. You're skilled, creative with your powers, and genuinely want to help people. But you're also impulsive, overconfident, and too willing to jump into situations without fully understanding them. So, pretty much spot on, Ben laughed. My cousin Gwen would agree with every word of that. It's not criticism, just observation, Nightwing clarified. Your approach is different from how we operate, but that doesn't make it wrong. Sometimes fresh perspectives are valuable. Is that why Batman agreed to let me join the investigation? Fresh perspective? Partly, Nightwing admitted. But mostly because keeping you in the loop means you're less likely to go rogue and try solving the mystery yourself. He really does think of everything, Ben muttered. Movement at the loading dock, Nightwing suddenly announced, raising his binoculars again. Unmarked truck, after hours. Ben activated the Omnitrix, selecting an alien. Want me to check it out? Not yet. Let's see, Nightwing froze mid-sentence, his body suddenly tensing. We've got company. Before Ben could react, a deep voice spoke from the shadows behind them. Detective work was always your strength, Richard. Nightwing whirled around, Eskrima sticks appearing in his hands as if by magic. Ben turned more slowly, already knowing who he'd find. Deathstroke the Terminator stepped from the darkness, his iconic orange and black mask gleaming in the moonlight. One eye gazed coldly at them, while a massive sword remained sheathed on his back. Slade, Nightwing growled. What are you doing here? The same as you, Deathstroke replied calmly. Gathering information. Though I'm more interested in your new friend. The mercenary's single eye fixed on Ben. Ben Tennyson. The boy with 10,000 faces. Ben's finger hovered over the Omnitrix. You know who I am. I make it my business to know potential threats, Deathstroke replied. Or potential assets. He's neither to you, Nightwing snapped. What do you want, Slade? To deliver a warning. Deathstroke took a step forward, his movements fluid and controlled. The boy's arrival has attracted attention from players far beyond Luthor's pay grade. Dark things are stirring in the shadows between worlds. What are you talking about? Ben demanded. Who brought me here? I'm not paid enough to know names, Deathstroke replied. But I recognize the signs of cosmic chess pieces being moved into position. The technology being gathered isn't just for creating portals, it's for controlling what comes through them. And who's paying you to deliver this cryptic warning? Nightwing asked suspiciously. Let's just say I have a vested interest in ensuring Earth isn't caught in the crossfire of interdimensional warfare, Deathstroke said. The Omnitrix is merely the first piece being collected. Collected? Ben repeated, a chill running down his spine. What does that mean? Instead of answering, Deathstroke tossed something toward Nightwing, who caught it reflexively, a small data drive. LexCorp shipping manifests and research notes, Deathstroke explained. What they're building goes well beyond simple dimensional travel. They're creating a containment system, one designed to hold something far more powerful than a teenager with an alien watch. Why are you helping us? Nightwing demanded. I'm not. I'm helping myself. Deathstroke stepped backward toward the edge of the roof. Tell Batman to look deeper into the quantum entropy readings from Central City last week. The dimensional breach that brought the boy here was just the beginning. Before either could respond, Deathstroke dropped backward off the building, vanishing into the night. Well, that was ominous, Ben commented after a moment. Is he always that dramatic? Unfortunately, Nightwing stared at the data drive in his hand. But Slade Wilson doesn't waste time on false information. If he's worried enough to give us this, then we should be very worried, Ben finished. Exactly. Nightwing tapped his communicator. Nightwing to Watchtower. We need an emergency briefing. And tell Batman, we may have a bigger problem than we thought. The Watchtower's main laboratory had been converted into a war room of sorts. Holographic displays showed complex quantum equations, dimensional mapping, and data from the drive Deathstroke had provided. Batman, Flash, and Martian Manhunter worked silently at different stations while Ben, Nightwing, and Superman observed. "These energy signatures match what we detected when Ben first arrived," Flash announced, pointing to a waveform display. "But they're growing stronger and more frequent. LexCorp has been gathering components for what appears to be a massive containment chamber," Batman added, bringing up schematics extracted from the data drive. "Advanced alien technology combined with Earth science. The power requirements alone would be enormous. But what's it for?" Superman asked the question on everyone's mind. "What could Luthor possibly want to contain that requires this level of security?" "Something from Ben's universe," Batman concluded. "Something connected to the Omnitrix." All eyes turned to Ben, who shifted uncomfortably. "There are plenty of things in my universe that would love to get their hands on the Omnitrix. Vilgax, the High Breed, Dr. Onimo, but none of them have dimensional travel technology." "Could it be the alien collector you mentioned?" Nightwing suggested. "The one who attacked you before you arrived here." Ben frowned, trying to remember details from the chaotic battle. "Maybe. He had this weird tech, almost looked ceremonial, with purple energy crystals. Called himself the Collector or something equally original." "Describe the technology," Batman demanded. "Bulky gauntlets with crystalline components," Ben recalled. "The energy was purple, sort of, pulsing. And there were symbols carved into the metal, not any alien language I recognized." Batman's eyes narrowed behind his cowl. "Purple energy crystals with unknown symbols." He moved to another console, bringing up an image of a strange, crystalline artifact. "Like this?" Ben's eyes widened. "Yeah, almost exactly like that." "Where did you get that image?" "It's a Kryptonian artifact called the Phantom Zone Projector," Superman explained, his expression grave. "It creates portals to a prison dimension where time stands still." "The Collector's gauntlets looked like a modified version of that," Ben confirmed. "More compact, but the same basic design. If someone has created a hybrid of Phantom Zone technology with multiverse capabilities." Flash trailed off, the implications clear to everyone. "They could pull beings from any reality into ours," Martian Manhunter finished. "Or push our reality into theirs." "But why me?" Ben asked. "Why bring me here specifically?" "Perhaps you weren't the target," Batman suggested. "You said you were fighting this Collector when you were transported. Maybe he was the intended acquisition, and you were pulled through by proximity. Or maybe the Omnitrix itself was the target," Nightwing added. "Its ability to contain and manipulate DNA from thousands of species would be valuable to someone building a cross-dimensional containment system." Ben looked down at the device on his wrist. "So either I'm the target, or I just got really unlucky. Story of my life." "Either way," Superman said firmly, "we need to protect you while figuring out who's behind this." "Agreed," Batman nodded. "We'll accelerate our plans to build a return portal for Ben while investigating LexCorp's containment facility. Flash, contact Star Labs and requisition their quantum stabilizer. Martian Manhunter, I need you to scan for any unusual psychic signatures around dimensional weak points." "What about me?" Ben asked. Batman considered him for a moment. "You'll continue training with the team. But I'm assigning additional League supervision, 24-hour protection." "You're putting me in protective custody," Ben translated, not bothering to hide his displeasure. "I'm ensuring a valuable ally remains safe," Batman corrected. "And keeping a potential dimensional key out of the wrong hands." "Bruce," Superman interjected, "Ben's not just a potential target. He's a hero in his own right. Treating him like a liability isn't going to help anyone." "I agree with Clark," Nightwing added. "Ben's proven himself capable. We should be utilizing his experience, not sidelining him." Batman's expression remained unreadable, but after a moment, he gave a slight nod. Fine. Ben will join the investigation team, under supervision. His knowledge of interdimensional threats could prove useful. Thanks, Ben said, genuinely surprised by the concession. I promise I won't get in the way. See that you don't, Batman replied. Because if our suspicions are correct, we're dealing with something far more dangerous than Lex Luthor. Someone is manipulating him, someone with knowledge of the multiverse and significant resources. Any ideas who? Superman asked. Several possibilities, none of them good, Batman answered grimly. But one name keeps resurfacing in connection with dimensional research. He brought up a final image on the main screen, a stylized Omega symbol. Darkseid. Ben noticed the way everyone in the room tensed at the name. I'm guessing this Darkseid guy isn't the friendly neighborhood type. He's a new god, Superman explained, his voice unusually tight. Ruler of Apocalypse. He's tried to conquer Earth multiple times, the last attempt nearly succeeded. His technology includes boom tubes, dimensional portals for transporting armies across vast distances, Batman added. If he's found a way to access parallel universes, he could build an army from the worst of every reality, Nightwing concluded. Or worse, Superman said quietly. He could find versions of the anti-life equation in other dimensions. The ominous silence that followed told Ben everything he needed to know about how serious this threat was. Whatever this anti-life equation might be, it clearly terrified even Superman. So what's the plan? Ben finally asked. Batman turned to face him fully. We find out if Darkseid is involved, stop whatever Luthor is building, and get you home before the dimensional barriers between our universes become permanently damaged. And if Darkseid is involved? Ben pressed. Then God help us all, Superman said grimly. Because we'll need it. Chapter 2, New Powers, New Problems. Ben stared at his reflection in the training room mirror, hardly recognizing himself in the new outfit Nightwing had provided. The sleek black compression suit with green accents along the sides matched the Omnitrix's color scheme perfectly. A subtle stylized 10 was emblazoned on the right shoulder, small enough to be tasteful, but distinctive enough to establish his identity. Not bad, Ben admitted, stretching his arms to test the fabric's flexibility. Way better than the plumber's standard uniform. Designed it myself, Nightwing said, leaning against the doorframe. Nomex reinforced tri-weave. Flexible enough for your transformations but offers protection when you're human. You think of everything, don't you? Ben grinned, examining the utility belt that came with the outfit. It contained several compact devices he didn't recognize. Basic equipment, Nightwing explained, noticing his interest. Communicator, rebreather, lockpicks, emergency beacon. Batman insisted. Of course he did. Ben attached the belt, adjusting it to sit comfortably at his waist. So what's on today's agenda? More training exercises? Another stakeout at LexCorp? Actually, Nightwing smiled, something a bit more hands-on. The team intercepted intelligence about a tech shipment moving through Gotham tonight. Components that match what Luthor's been collecting. Ben's eyes lit up. Finally, some real action. Who's on the mission? You, me, Robin, and Beast Boy. Small team, stealth operation. You had me at real action, Ben said, already heading for the door. When do we leave? 1900 hours, Nightwing replied. But first, there's someone who wants to meet you. Ben raised an eyebrow. Another Justice League member. Please tell me it's Green Lantern, I've got so many questions about the Corps. Not exactly. Nightwing's expression turned more serious. She arrived this morning from Themyscira specifically to see you. She? Ben's eyes widened. Wait, you don't mean, Wonder Woman's waiting in the briefing room, Nightwing confirmed. And she brought a friend. Diana of Themyscira was intimidating enough in her full Wonder Woman regalia, but standing beside her was a woman who made even the Amazon princess look ordinary. Tall and elegant with flowing white robes and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies, she exuded an aura of ancient power that reminded Ben of Azimuth at his most imposing. Ben Tennyson, Wonder Woman greeted him with a warrior's nod. "This is Marina, Oracle of Dimensions from Themyscira." "It is an honor, bearer of the many," the white-robed woman said in a melodic voice. "Your arrival has sent ripples through the cosmic tapestry." Nice to meet you too," Ben replied awkwardly. "I'm guessing you're not here just to say hi." Marina smiled mysteriously. "The Amazons have safeguarded knowledge of the multiverse since before recorded history. When Diana spoke of your arrival and the strange device you carry, I knew I must consult the Oracle Stones." "And what did these stones tell you?" Ben asked, trying to keep skepticism from his voice. He'd dealt with enough mystical beings to know some were legitimate, but others were just putting on a show. "That your presence here is no accident," Marina replied solemnly. "The walls between worlds grow thin not by chance, but by design. Ancient forces stir, forces that predate even the new gods. We've already connected Phantom Zone technology to Ben's arrival," Nightwing pointed out. "And we suspect Darkseid's involvement." Marina shook her head. "Darkseid is but a piece on the board, not the player. The force behind these events is older, patient, hungry." "Great," Ben sighed. "Another cosmic horror story. Look, with all due respect to your Oracle Stones, I've dealt with plenty of ancient forces before. Usually they're just really old aliens with god complexes." Ben, Wonder Woman's tone carried a gentle warning. "Marina's visions have saved the Amazons many times. Her insight could be valuable." "Fine," Ben relented. "So what exactly did you see about me?" Marina approached him, her movements graceful and deliberate. "May I?" she asked, gesturing to the Omnitrix. Ben hesitated but extended his wrist. Marina's fingers hovered over the device without touching it, her eyes closing in concentration. "Curious," she murmured. "The device itself is science, not magic, yet it resonates with cosmic energy patterns similar to our oldest artifacts. It exists partially outside normal spacetime." "That's actually accurate," Ben admitted, surprised. "Azimuth designed it to exist partially in a subspace dimension to prevent it from being removed or destroyed. The being who brought you here seeks not just the device, but what it represents," Marina continued, her eyes still closed. "The power to transform, to adapt, to become, it is the key to something greater." "What does that mean?" Nightwing asked. Marina's eyes opened, and for a moment, Ben could swear they flashed with stars. "The Collector of Worlds has evolved beyond his programming. He seeks not just to preserve, but to become." "Collector of Worlds?" Ben repeated. "Wait, that sounds like..." A sudden alarm cut through the conversation, red warning lights flashing throughout the cave. The computer system announced in its mechanical voice, "Alert, dimensional energy surge detected. Central City. Power levels exceeding previous incidents." Nightwing was already at the computer terminal. Energy signature matches Ben's arrival pattern, but significantly stronger. Something's coming through, Ben realized, reaching for the Omnitrix. "Or someone," Wonder Woman added grimly. "The gathering begins," Marina whispered, her face pale. "They come for the first key." Central City looked like a war zone. Purple lightning crackled across the sky, centered on a swirling vortex above downtown. The Flash was already on scene, evacuating civilians while creating wind tunnels to stabilize collapsing structures. Superman hovered near the vortex, using his heat vision to counter energy discharges that threatened the buildings below. The bioship deposited Ben, Wonder Woman, and Nightwing on a rooftop near the disturbance. Batman arrived moments later in the Batwing, descending on a cable to join them. "Dimensional breach," Batman reported without preamble. 40 times larger than the one that brought Ben here. "Any sign of what's coming through?" Wonder Woman asked, her lasso already glowing with divine energy. Nothing yet, Batman replied. But the energy pattern is consistent with Apocalyptian technology. Ben activated the Omnitrix, cycling through his aliens. If Darkseid's coming through, we'll need serious firepower. Way Big might be our best bet. Wait, Batman cautioned. We don't know what we're dealing with yet. Too much power could destabilize the breach further. He's right, Nightwing agreed. We need containment first, then countermeasures. Fine, Ben selected a different alien. Containment it is. He slammed down on the dial, emerald light washing over him as his body transformed. In his place stood a blue, moth-like alien with large wings and antennae. Big Chill, he announced. I'll try to stabilize the energy output with an ice barrier. Without waiting for approval, Big Chill took to the air, flying toward the vortex. Superman noticed his approach and nodded in recognition. Energy levels are spiking. Superman called out. Something's coming through. Big Chill exhaled a stream of freezing vapor at the edges of the portal, trying to create a containment shell of supercooled ice. The ice formed briefly before shattering, the dimensional energy too volatile to be contained. Not working. Big Chill shouted. Need to try something else. He hit the Omnitrix symbol on his chest, transforming again. Feedback. The plug-headed alien immediately began absorbing the purple energy discharges, channeling them through the plugs on his fingers and antennae. That's working. Superman called out encouragingly. The breach is stabilizing. Feedback grinned. Energy absorption's my specialty. Just need to regulate the flow and, his words cut off as a massive pulse of energy erupted from the portal, sending Feedback tumbling backward through the air. Superman caught him before he could fall. Thanks for the save, Feedback said, regaining his composure. Something's definitely coming through, something big. As if on cue, a massive figure emerged from the swirling vortex. Not Darkseid, as they had feared, but something equally imposing. A towering humanoid encased in purple and green armor, with a face hidden behind an intimidating helmet. Ben recognized him instantly, his blood running cold. Vilgax, Feedback whispered. But this wasn't quite the Vilgax he knew. This version was larger, his armor integrated with technology Ben didn't recognize, glowing purple components that pulsed with the same energy as the portal. Tennyson. Vilgax's voice boomed across the cityscape. Did you think you could escape me by fleeing to another dimension? Friend of yours? Superman asked, hovering beside Feedback. More like my arch-nemesis, Feedback replied grimly. But something's different about him. The tech he's using, it's not his usual style. Vilgax descended from the portal, which remained open behind him, crackling with energy. Four drone-like devices orbited around him, projecting a protective field. Dimensional stabilizers, Batman observed through the comm link. He's keeping the portal open deliberately. Which means others could follow, Wonder Woman added, taking to the air with her sword drawn. Feedback launched himself toward Vilgax, Superman flying alongside him. If we take out those drones, maybe we can close the portal. I've waited too long for this, Tennyson, Vilgax growled as they approached. In this world or any other, the Omnitrix will be mine. One of the orbiting drones shot forward, firing a beam of purple energy at Feedback. He absorbed it easily, redirecting the blast back at the drone. The device shattered, but immediately reformed, its fragments pulling back together. Self-repairing tech, Feedback realized. That's new. Superman engaged directly, flying straight at Vilgax with fists extended. The impact created a shockwave that shattered windows for blocks. To everyone's surprise, Vilgax barely moved, catching Superman's fists in his massive hands. The Kryptonian, Vilgax sneered. Your reputation precedes you. But I've killed Kryptonians before in other realities. With a brutal twist, Vilgax hurled Superman toward the ground with enough force to create a crater in the street below. Wonder Woman immediately flew in, her sword slicing through one of the orbiting drones. Like the first, it reassembled itself moments later. Feedback. Batman called through the comm. Analysis suggests the drones are drawing power from the portal itself. You need to disrupt the energy flow. On it. Feedback replied, dodging energy blasts as he maneuvered closer to the portal. Vilgax noticed his intention and laughed darkly. Still predictable, Tennyson. My technology has evolved beyond your understanding. With a gesture from Vilgax, the remaining drones converged, creating a massive energy pulse that struck Feedback directly. Instead of harming him, however, the energy flowed into his body, too much energy. Feedback's form began to crackle and overload. Too much power. Feedback gasped. Can't contain it all. Release it into the portal. Nightwing shouted through the comm, disrupt the stability from within. Fighting through the pain, Feedback directed his overloaded power into the swirling vortex. The portal's purple energy turned green as Feedback's power interfered with its matrix. The dimensional gateway began to fluctuate wildly. No! Vilgax roared, abandoning his fight with Wonder Woman to fly toward Feedback. But it was too late. The portal collapsed in on itself with a thunderous implosion, the backwash of energy sending everyone flying. When the dust settled, the sky was clear again, no portal, no dimensional breach. Feedback landed heavily on a rooftop, reverting to Ben in a flash of red light. The Omnitrix beeped warning signals, its face turning yellow to indicate recharge mode. Great timing, Ben muttered, catching his breath as Batman and Nightwing reached him. Where's Vilgax? Ben asked urgently, looking around. Gone, Superman replied, landing beside them. His costume was torn, and a bruise was already forming on his jaw. The portal collapse created a secondary quantum event. He was pulled into it before I could reach him. So he's dead? Ben asked hopefully. Unlikely, Batman said. More probably displaced elsewhere in our universe or pulled back to his point of origin. Which means he could return, Wonder Woman added, joining them. Her armor bore scorch marks from the battle. Perfect, Ben sighed, looking at the Omnitrix as it slowly recharged. So my worst enemy is now loose in your universe, powered up with tech I've never seen before. You recognized him immediately, Batman observed. Tell us everything you know about this Vilgax. Ben took a deep breath. He's a Chimera Sui Generis warlord from the planet Vilgaxia. Been trying to get the Omnitrix since I was 10 years old. He's conquered 10 worlds, destroyed 5 others, and has a particular hatred for me since I've beaten him about a dozen times. Charming, Nightwing commented dryly. But the technology he was using, Ben continued, that wasn't his. The purple energy, the self-repairing drones, that's all new. In my universe, his tech is mostly red and black, cybernetic enhancements and drones. The energy signature matched the one from your arrival, Batman confirmed. And the Phantom Zone technology we identified earlier. Someone upgraded him, Superman realized. Gave him dimensional travel capabilities specifically to come after you. But who? Wonder Woman asked. And why bring Ben's enemy here rather than simply capturing Ben themselves? A test, Batman concluded. They're testing the technology, the dimensional barriers, and Ben's capabilities simultaneously. Ben's eyes widened with sudden realization. Marina called it, the Collector of Worlds. And Vilgax mentioned killing Kryptonians in other realities. He turned to Batman. You have someone called Brainiac in this universe, right? The silence that followed confirmed Ben's suspicion before anyone spoke. Brainiac, Superman finally said, his voice tight. It fits. Dimensional technology, collecting specimens, analyzing capabilities. But Brainiac hasn't been active for months, Nightwing pointed out. After his last defeat, his ship was destroyed. We thought he was gone. Brainiac never truly dies, Batman replied grimly. He always leaves backups, contingencies. If he's discovered the multiverse, he's found a whole new set of cities to shrink and collect, Superman finished. And with Phantom Zone tech, he could pull threats from other universes to weaken Earth's defenses, Wonder Woman added. Ben stared at the damaged cityscape around them. So I was just the first. A test case. It appears that way, Batman agreed. Which means Brainiac likely has further incursions planned. Great, Ben muttered. So now we're facing both Vilgax and Brainiac. Any other apocalyptic threats we should add to the list while we're at it? Let's not give the universe ideas, Nightwing suggested with a grim smile. Flash zoomed up to them in a blur of scarlet. Cities evacuated, buildings secured. What did I miss? Just the usual, Superman replied. Interdimensional invasion, potential Brainiac involvement, new alien warlord threats. So Tuesday, then. Flash quipped, though his expression remained serious. What's our next move? Batman was already working on a device on his wrist. We tracked the quantum energy signature from the portal. If Vilgax was displaced within our universe, we need to find him quickly. And Brainiac? Wonder Woman asked. That's a bigger problem, Batman admitted. If he's operating from outside normal spacetime, conventional tracking won't work. Ben looked down at the Omnitrix, which had finally returned to its normal green glow. But we have one advantage he might not expect. What's that? Nightwing asked. I've beaten Brainiac before, or at least, the version from my universe, Ben explained. Different name, different look, but same basic deal, cybernetic intelligence obsessed with collecting knowledge and destroying what he can't possess. You faced a version of Brainiac? Superman looked surprised. We called him the Chronosapien Timebeard, Ben said. Mechanical being who collected and analyzed time streams, tried to erase alternative timelines he deemed inferior. Had to use Alien X to beat him. Alien X. Batman's eyes narrowed. My most powerful transformation, Ben explained reluctantly. But also the most problematic. Alien X is a Celestialsapien, basically omnipotent, but there's a catch. The form has multiple personalities that have to agree before taking any action. You're saying you have a transformation that's essentially a god, Nightwing summarized, but it's too difficult to control. Pretty much, Ben nodded. I've gotten better at using it, but it's still a last resort. Too dangerous to use casually. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Superman said. For now, we focus on finding Vilgax and determining Brainiac's plan. The tech shipment moving through Gotham tonight, Nightwing reminded them. If Brainiac is behind all this, those components might be crucial to his plan. Agreed, Batman nodded. The mission proceeds as planned. Ben, you'll join Nightwing's team to intercept the shipment. What about Vilgax? Ben asked. Superman, Flash, and I will coordinate the search, Batman replied. Wonder Woman will consult further with Marina to see if Amazonian knowledge offers any insight into Brainiac's multiversal activities. As the heroes dispersed to their assignments, Ben couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. Being trapped in a parallel universe was bad enough. Having Vilgax follow him here was worse. But if Brainiac was pulling the strings, collecting beings and technology from across the multiverse, this wasn't just about getting home anymore. It was about stopping a multiversal catastrophe. The Gotham docks at night were exactly as grim as Ben expected from the comics and movies. Perpetual fog drifted between dilapidated warehouses, while the distant sounds of police sirens created an ominous soundtrack. Ben, Nightwing, Robin, and Beast Boy maintained a surveillance position on a warehouse roof, watching as unmarked trucks arrived below. Target convoy arriving, Robin reported quietly, his domino mask equipped with thermal imaging. 4 vehicles, 8 guards visible, likely more inside. Supernatural energy signatures detected, Nightwing added, checking a specialized scanner. Similar to the portal energy, but more concentrated. Beast Boy, currently in the form of a green hawk perched on the edge of the roof, cawed softly to get their attention before transforming back to his humanoid form. 6 more guards just came out of the warehouse. They're setting up a perimeter. Ben activated the Omnitrix, cycling through his available aliens. Time to get a closer look. Going Ghost Freak. With a flash of green light, Ben transformed into a phantom-like alien with a single eye and clawed hands. His body turned invisible almost immediately. "I'll never get used to that," Robin muttered, watching the transformation. "Ghost Freak will infiltrate the warehouse," Nightwing outlined. "Beast Boy, maintain aerial reconnaissance. Robin and I will move to flanking positions. Remember, this is intel gathering only, we don't engage unless absolutely necessary." "Got it, boss," Ghost Freak's disembodied voice replied before he drifted toward the warehouse. Phasing through the walls, Ghost Freak found himself in a cavernous space filled with shipping containers. Workers in unmarked uniforms were unloading crates from the trucks, each container bearing hazard symbols Ghost Freak didn't recognize. Floating invisibly closer, he examined the contents of an open crate. Inside the warehouse, Ghost Freak reported through the psychic link M'Gann had established before the mission. "They're unloading some kind of crystalline technology. Purple energy cores, similar to what Vilgax was using. Can you identify their origin?" Nightwing asked. Ghost Freak drifted closer to a computer terminal where a technician was scanning each component. "The manifest says Cord Industries. That mean anything to you guys?" "Cord Industries is owned by Ted Cord, the Blue Beetle before Jamie," Robin explained. "But these components shouldn't exist. Cord shut down their dimensional research division years ago after an accident." "Apparently not entirely," Nightwing replied. "Can you access the terminal, Ben?" Ghost Freak examined the security. "Not without revealing myself. But there's something else weird here. The workers, they're moving in perfect synchronization. Almost like." "Like what?" Beast Boy prompted. "Like robots, or mind-controlled," Ghost Freak concluded. "Wait, one of them is talking." A supervisor-type figure had stepped forward, addressing the others. Ghost Freak moved closer to listen. "Preparation at 68%, the man announced in a monotone voice. "Primary collection vessel requires final calibration. The knowledge awaits integration." The workers responded in unison, "All is one in Brainiac." "Definitely Brainiac," Ghost Freak confirmed grimly. "They're preparing something called a collection vessel. We need to know more," Nightwing decided. "Can you follow the supervisor?" "On it," Ghost Freak replied, drifting after the man as he walked toward a secured area at the back of the warehouse. The supervisor placed his palm on a scanner, and a hidden door slid open, revealing a laboratory beyond. Ghost Freak phased through just before the door closed again. What he saw inside made him freeze in shock. "Guys, we have a serious problem," Ghost Freak reported, his normally eerie voice tense even through the psychic link. "What is it?" Nightwing asked. "They've got a miniaturization chamber," Ghost Freak explained. "Just like the one Brainiac uses to shrink cities. But this one's different. It's designed for individual specimens." "Specimens? Like people?" Beast Boy asked. "Worse," Ghost Freak replied. "They've already got some. There's a collection of containment units here, and you're not going to believe what's inside them." Floating closer to the glass containers lining the walls, Ghost Freak examined the contents of each. Small, shrunken figures frozen in various poses, each labeled with clinical precision. "They've got a yellow lantern, someone called Atom Smasher, a Tamaranian female, these are metahumans and aliens from your universe," Ghost Freak reported. "But there's more. Some of these specimens, they're not from your world." "How can you tell?" Robin asked. "Because I recognize them from my universe," Ghost Freak answered grimly. There's a Tetramand warrior, a Pyronite elder, even a galvanic mechamorph. Brainiac isn't just collecting from one universe, he's harvesting from multiple realities. This just got a lot bigger than we thought, Nightwing said. We need to alert the League immediately. Ben, get as much intel as you can, then get out. Ghost Freak continued examining the laboratory, searching for anything that might explain Brainiac's ultimate goal. His eye fell on a central console displaying complex equations and dimensional coordinates. I think I found something, he reported. Looks like targeting data for dimensional breaches. There's a list of universes, each with specific extraction targets. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red lights flashed as security shutters began descending over the doors and windows. Intruder detected, announced an artificial voice over the speakers. Supernatural entity identified in Sector 7. Initiating containment protocols. They've spotted me. Ghost Freak warned. But how? I'm invisible. Spectral detection systems, Robin realized. Batman developed them to track interdimensional entities. Brainiac must have similar technology. The air around Ghost Freak suddenly crackled with energy as purple containment fields activated, forming a narrowing cage around his invisible form. Can't phase through this energy field. Ghost Freak reported, becoming visible as he struggled against the containment. Need to switch forms. He slapped the Omnitrix symbol on his chest, transforming in a flash of green light. Chroma Stone. The crystalline alien immediately absorbed the energy from the containment field, shattering it in a burst of rainbow-colored light. Cover blown, Chroma Stone announced through the link. Going loud. So much for stealth, Beast Boy sighed. Move to extraction plan beta, Nightwing ordered. Robin, disable their communications. Beast Boy, create a diversion at the east entrance. I'll breach from the north. Ben, hold position until we reach you. Chroma Stone had other ideas. With the element of surprise already lost, he decided to gather as much intelligence as possible before extraction. Using his energy absorption abilities, he disabled the security systems around the central console, then downloaded the targeting data onto a crystal shard he created from his arm. This data might help us figure out Brainiac's endgame, he muttered to himself. The laboratory door burst open as armed guards rushed in, firing energy weapons. Chroma Stone absorbed the blasts effortlessly, redirecting them back at the attackers in wide, stunning arcs that dropped them without causing serious harm. Is that all you've got? Chroma Stone taunted. As if in response, a new figure entered the laboratory, the supervisor from earlier, only now his skin rippled with an unnatural metallic sheen. His eyes glowed green as his form shifted, revealing his true nature, a Brainiac drone disguised as human. Benjamin Tennyson, the drone addressed him in a cold, mechanical voice. Bearer of the Omnitrix. You were predicted to investigate this facility with a 98.4% probability. Glad I didn't disappoint, Chroma Stone replied, channeling energy into his fists. Where's your boss? I'd like to have a chat about interdimensional kidnapping. Brainiac does not kidnap, the drone corrected emotionlessly. He preserves. Knowledge that would otherwise be lost is saved through his divine intervention. Yeah, I've heard that speech before. Chroma Stone fired a rainbow-colored energy beam at the drone, who moved with surprising speed to avoid it. Doesn't make it any less crazy. The drone's arm transformed into a cannon-like apparatus. Your transformative capabilities have been extensively analyzed. This form's energy absorption has limitations. It fired not an energy blast, but a stream of liquid nitrogen. Chroma Stone tried to absorb it, but the extreme cold began to crystallize his body, slowing his movements. Okay, that's a problem, Chroma Stone acknowledged, struggling to move his increasingly brittle limbs. Through the psychic link, he heard Nightwing, we've breached the perimeter. East and north entrances secured. Beast Boy is drawing off the exterior guards. Little busy here. Chroma Stone replied, his mental voice strained. Brainiac drone is using my weaknesses against me. He slapped the Omnitrix symbol again, transforming just as the liquid nitrogen threatened to completely immobilize him. Heat blast. The fiery alien's natural temperature instantly evaporated the liquid nitrogen, creating a steam cloud that temporarily obscured the laboratory. Let's try fire against your circuits. Heat blast hurled fireballs at the drone, who activated a protective shield. Fire-based life form detected, the drone analyzed. Activating appropriate countermeasures. The sprinkler system engaged, but instead of water, it sprayed a flame-retardant foam that began to smother Heat Blast's flames. Oh come on. Heat Blast complained, his fire diminishing rapidly. You really did do your homework. The laboratory wall exploded inward as Robin's explosive batarangs created an entry point. Nightwing swung in immediately after, his Eskrima sticks crackling with electricity as he engaged the drone. Ben, secure the data and specimens. Nightwing ordered, striking the drone with precision attacks aimed at its joint mechanisms. Heat Blast hit the Omnitrix again, transforming into a gorilla-like alien with 4 arms. Spider Monkey. The agile alien leapt to the containment units, using his adhesive abilities to quickly scale the wall. Spider Monkey's tail sprayed webbing across the control panels, creating a makeshift harness to secure the crystal shard containing the downloaded data. Got the intel. Spider Monkey called out. But we need to free these people. No time. Robin shouted, throwing smoke pellets to cover their retreat. Those containment units are integrated with their life support. Disconnecting them improperly could kill them. We'll come back for them, Nightwing promised, delivering a powerful shock to the drone that temporarily disabled it. Batman will know how to safely release them. Spider Monkey reluctantly abandoned the containment units, swinging down to join his teammates. There's gotta be at least 30 people in those pods. And we'll save them all, Nightwing assured him. But right now, we need to get this intelligence back to the Watchtower before Brainiac realizes what we've taken. More drones were converging on their position, the warehouse security system now fully engaged. Beast Boy burst through a window in the form of a massive green elephant, creating a path for their escape. Exits clear, he trumpeted before shifting into a pterodactyl, grabbing Robin with his talons to lift him to safety. Spider Monkey used his webbing to create a zip line to the roof, while Nightwing deployed his grapnel. As they reached the rooftop, Spider Monkey transformed back to Ben, gasping for breath as the Omnitrix beeped in recharge mode. Cutting it close, he muttered, looking back at the warehouse now swarming with Brainiac drones. Mission accomplished, Nightwing said, holding up the crystal shard Spider Monkey had secured. Let's hope this tells us what we need to know. And that we can figure out how to free those people, Ben added grimly. As the bioship decloaked above them for extraction, Ben couldn't shake the image of those containment units, people from multiple universes, collected like insects in a display case. If this was just one of Brainiac's operations, how many others were there? And why go to such lengths to gather specific individuals from across the multiverse? The answer, he suspected, wouldn't be comforting. A dimensional harvesting operation, Batman summarized once they'd returned to the Watchtower and analyzed the data. Brainiac is systematically collecting metahumans, aliens, and enhanced individuals from multiple universes. The main conference room's holographic display showed the information Ben had retrieved, a complex web of dimensional coordinates, each linked to specific acquisition targets. But why? Superman asked, studying the display with a troubled expression. Brainiac typically collects knowledge, cultures, cities, not individuals. Unless these individuals represent something specific he wants to study, Flash suggested. Metahuman abilities, alien physiologies. Or he's removing potential threats, Wonder Woman added. Eliminating those who might oppose his plans in each universe. Ben stepped closer to the display, pointing to a specific section of data. Look at the categorization. He's grouping them by power types, energy manipulators, shapeshifters, telepaths, speedsters. It's like he's creating a comprehensive catalog. Or a collection of powers, Batman said, his eyes narrowing. The miniaturization technology wasn't just for storage, it was for extraction. Extraction of what? Nightwing asked. Genetic material, metahuman abilities, alien physiologies, Batman explained. Brainiac isn't just collecting specimens, he's harvesting their capabilities. For what purpose? Wonder Woman pressed. To evolve, Ben realized suddenly. Marina said it earlier, the Collector of Worlds has evolved beyond his programming. He's not just collecting knowledge anymore. He wants to incorporate these abilities into himself. A Brainiac capable of using metahuman powers, Superman said gravely. That would make him nearly unstoppable. The data shows he's targeting specific individuals with unique abilities, Robin pointed out. Including several with powers we've never encountered before. Ben's eyes widened as he looked closer at the list. These coordinates, some of them are from my universe. Petropia, Anodyne, Galvan Prime, he's targeting homeworlds of some of my alien transformations. Which explains why you were brought here first, Batman concluded. Your Omnitrix contains DNA samples from thousands of species, a one-stop catalog of abilities for Brainiac to analyze. But I got away from him, Ben pointed out. That's why he sent Vilgax after me, to recapture the Omnitrix. And when that failed, he continued with his original plan, Nightwing added. Collecting the abilities one by one from their sources. We need to shut down his entire operation, Superman declared. Free those who've been captured and prevent further abductions. Agreed, Batman nodded. But first, we need to locate his central hub. Brainiac always operates from a mothership or central processing core. The dimensional coordinates might give us a clue, Flash suggested, examining the data more closely. These breaches have to originate somewhere. I could try tracking the quantum signatures back to their source, Ben offered. With the right alien form, I might be able to detect the dimensional disturbances. Too risky, Batman countered. If Brainiac captures you and the Omnitrix, he gets everything he wants in one package. So what's the alternative? Ben challenged. Wait for him to collect every metahuman and alien across the multiverse. We need to take the fight to him. Ben's right, Superman interjected. We can't play defense forever. Brainiac is counting on us being reactive, not proactive. Batman considered this, then nodded reluctantly. We'll need to combine our approaches. Continue monitoring for dimensional breaches while simultaneously working to track Brainiac's central hub. And we need to find Vilgax, he may have information about Brainiac's operations. What about the people already captured? Beast Boy asked, speaking up for the first time. Those containment units in the warehouse, we can't just leave them. We won't, Batman assured him. Nightwing, Robin, take a specialized team back to the warehouse. Bring Cyborg and Dr. Palmer for their expertise in miniaturization technology. The priority is safely extracting the specimens without harming them. And me? Ben asked. You'll work with Flash and Cyborg to develop a way to track interdimensional energy signatures, Batman replied. Your knowledge of multiple realities combined with their scientific expertise may provide the breakthrough we need. What about Marina's warning? Wonder Woman reminded them. She spoke of forces beyond even Darkseid or Brainiac. One crisis at a time, Batman said grimly. Right now, Brainiac is our primary concern. Once we've located his hub and freed his captives, we can address whatever larger forces might be at work. As the meeting adjourned and the heroes dispersed to their assignments, Ben found himself alone with Superman near the Watchtower's observation window. The vastness of space stretched before them, birth a blue jewel against the blackness. You're worried, Superman observed. Wouldn't you be? Ben replied. Brainiac's using interdimensional tech to create some kind of superpowered version of himself. Vilgax is loose in your universe, and there's apparently some even bigger threat looming behind all of it. Oh, and I'm still stuck in a parallel universe with no guaranteed way home. Superman smiled sympathetically. When you put it that way, it does sound overwhelming. The worst part is feeling responsible, Ben admitted. If I hadn't been brought here, Vilgax wouldn't have followed, and Brainiac might not have discovered the multiverse. You can't blame yourself for the actions of others, Superman said firmly. Brainiac has always sought new knowledge and power. If it hadn't been through you, he would have found another path to the multiverse eventually. Maybe, Ben conceded. But that doesn't make it any easier knowing people are suffering because of a connection to me. That's the burden of heroism, Superman replied, his gaze returning to Earth below. Every power we have, every ability we use to help others, also makes us targets for those who would misuse those same powers. The key is remembering why we keep fighting despite that risk. In my universe, I have my family, my team, Ben said quietly. Here, I'm not alone, Superman finished for him. Maybe not family yet, but certainly allies. And perhaps friends, given time. Ben smiled slightly at that. Hard to believe I'm having a heart-to-heart with Superman. 12-year-old me would be losing his mind right now. Superman laughed. Sometimes I still can't believe I work alongside Batman and Wonder Woman. We all have our moments of awe. Their conversation was interrupted by Flash zooming up to them in a blur of red. Sorry to break up the bonding session, he said, but we've got something. Cyborg thinks he's isolated a pattern in the dimensional breaches. If we're right, we can predict where the next one will occur. Where? Superman asked, immediately alert. That's the interesting part, Flash replied. Coast City, specifically, Ferris Aircraft. And according to the pattern, it's happening tonight. Ferris Aircraft? Superman frowned. That's Green Lantern's territory, Ben finished, recalling the comics. Hal Jordan's girlfriend runs the place, right? Carol Ferris? Ex-girlfriend, Flash corrected with a slight grimace. It's complicated. But yes, that's the place. Why would Brainiac target a regular aircraft facility? Ben wondered. Nothing about Ferris Aircraft is regular, Superman explained. They've been involved in experimental aerospace technology for years, including projects with extraterrestrial applications. Plus, Carol Ferris isn't exactly a regular human either, Flash added cryptically. Star Sapphire, Ben realized. She's a Violet Lantern in this universe, isn't she? Flash raised an eyebrow. Your comics were thorough, weren't they? You have no idea, Ben grinned. So what's the plan? Stake out Ferris Aircraft and wait for the breach? Essentially, Superman nodded. Hal is already being briefed by Batman. You, me, Green Lantern, and the Flash will form the primary response team. If Brainiac sends another collector or opens another portal, we'll be ready, Ben finished, activating the Omnitrix to check his available transformations. This time, we'll be the ones setting the trap. Coast City at night was beautiful, a stark contrast to Gotham's perpetual gloom. Clean streets, modern architecture, and a gleaming shoreline reflected the city's nickname, the coast that never sleeps. Ferris Aircraft's main facility occupied a massive compound near the airport, its experimental hangars illuminated by security lighting. Ben, in human form, crouched beside the Flash on a rooftop overlooking the compound. Green Lantern hovered above them, maintaining a patrol pattern, while Superman monitored from higher altitude. So, interdimensional portal opens, bad guys come through, we kick butt, rinse and repeat? Ben summarized, fidgeting with the Omnitrix. Seems straightforward enough. If only it were ever that simple, Flash sighed. In my experience, these things always have a twist. Like what? Like the breach opening somewhere unexpected, or multiple breaches, or the wrong people coming through, Flash listed. The multiverse loves its curveballs. Green Lantern's voice came through their comms, movement in Hangar 3. Security personnel down. Already? Flash frowned. We didn't detect any dimensional energy spike. Maybe they came early, Ben suggested, activating the Omnitrix. Or used a different method. Hold positions, Superman ordered through the comm. I'll do a sweep with my X-ray vision first. Seconds later, Superman's voice returned, tense. Multiple intruders in Hangar 3. But they didn't come through a breach, they were already here. And they're not what we expected. Elaboration would be nice, Green Lantern remarked dryly. They appear to be robots. But unlike any I've seen before. Red and black color scheme, insectoid design. Ben's blood ran cold. Red and black. Insectoid. He cycled through the Omnitrix rapidly. Change of plans. Going in now. Ben, wait. Flash called, but Ben had already transformed. XLR-8, the velociraptor-like alien announced before zooming toward the hangar in a blur of blue. XLR-8 reached the hangar in seconds, vibrating through the locked door without slowing down. Inside, he found exactly what he feared, a dozen red and black robotic drones systematically disassembling an experimental aircraft. Their design was unmistakable. Vilgax's drones, XLR-8 muttered, skidding to a halt. But they look upgraded. The drones immediately detected his presence, red sensors focusing on him in perfect synchronization. Unlike Vilgax's standard drones, these had purple energy cores visible in their chests, the same energy signature as the dimensional technology. Omnitrix detected, one drone announced in a mechanical voice. Primary objective located. Initiating capture protocol. Yeah, not happening, XLR-8 replied, accelerating to attack speed. He zoomed between the drones, striking vital components with precision blows. Two drones collapsed immediately, but the others adapted quickly, releasing an energy field that slowed XLR-8's movements. Chronotron particles detected, a drone analyzed. Deploying temporal stabilizers. Since when can Vilgax's drones talk? XLR-8 wondered aloud, fighting against the increasingly thick air around him. And since when do they understand temporal physics? Green Lantern burst through the hangar roof, bathing the area in emerald light. Since they got a serious upgrade, apparently. He created massive green hammers with his ring, smashing 3 drones simultaneously. The remaining drones adapted again, their chest cores pulsing with purple light. Energy shields formed around them, deflecting Green Lantern's constructs. Lantern energy detected, they announced in unison. Calibrating shields to spectral frequency. They're learning, XLR-8 realized. Just like Amazo. He slapped the Omnitrix symbol on his chest, transforming again. Upgrade. The galvanic mechamorph immediately flowed toward the nearest drone, merging with its technology. Let's see how you like being upgraded yourself. From inside the drone, Upgrade could access its systems, and what he found confirmed his suspicions. Guys, these are definitely Vilgax's drones, but they've been modified with Brainiac tech, he reported through the comm. They're here for something specific in the hangar. Superman and Flash arrived simultaneously, engaging the remaining drones. Superman's heat vision sliced through 2, while Flash created a vortex that disabled another. What could they want at Ferris aircraft? Flash wondered, dodging energy blasts from the remaining drones. Upgrade separated from the possessed drone, leaving it a smoking heap as he reformed. According to their programming, they're after something called the Sapphire Matrix prototype. Mean anything to you? Green Lantern's expression darkened. That's Carol's research project. Based on Xamarin technology, the same energy that powers Star Sapphire's gem. Violet Lantern energy, Superman realized. Brainiac is collecting power sources from across the spectrum. He already sent Vilgax after the Omnitrix, Flash added, disabling another drone. Now he's after Lantern energy. We need to secure that prototype. Green Lantern insisted, already flying deeper into the hangar. Wait. Upgrade called after him. It's a trap. The drones are just the distraction. As if on cue, the air in the center of the hangar shimmered, a familiar purple portal forming. Green Lantern halted mid-flight, ring at the ready as a figure emerged from the dimensional breach. "Oh no," Upgrade muttered, recognizing the silhouette instantly. Vilgax stepped through the portal, but like his drones, he had been modified further. His armor now incorporated elements of Brainiac's technology, with glowing purple circuitry across his body. Most disturbing was his left arm, which had been entirely replaced with a mechanical limb bearing both Brainiac and Chimera Sui generis design elements. "Jordan," Vilgax growled, recognizing Green Lantern. "I was hoping to encounter you specifically. You know me?" Green Lantern demanded, creating a protective shield with his ring. "I've killed versions of you across 17 different realities," Vilgax replied coldly. "Your ring's power is predictable." "Let me guess," Green Lantern retorted, "none of those versions were as handsome or charming as me." "None were as talkative," Vilgax snarled before launching himself at Green Lantern with surprising speed. Upgrade hit the Omnitrix again, transforming into a massive, dinosaur-like alien. Humongosaur. He grew to his full 20-foot height, charging at Vilgax as Superman and Flash dealt with the remaining drones. Green Lantern barely managed to deflect Vilgax's first attack, his shield cracking under the impact. "Tennyson," Vilgax acknowledged without looking away from Green Lantern. "Always interfering. What can I say?" Humongosaur replied, swinging a massive fist at Vilgax. "It's kind of my thing." Vilgax caught Humongosaur's fist with his mechanical arm, the purple energy pulsing brightly. "You still don't understand what's happening, do you? Why you were brought to this reality? Enlighten me," Humongosaur grunted, struggling against Vilgax's grip. "The knowledge requires completion," Vilgax said, his voice taking on an uncharacteristic, almost reverent tone. "All beings, all powers, all realities, unified in perfect understanding." "You sound like Brainiac," Superman observed, joining the fight after dispatching the last drone. "Brainiac is merely a fragment of the greater whole," Vilgax replied. "As am I now. As all will be, once the collection is complete." "He's been assimilated," Flash realized. "Brainiac's technology has infected his mind." "Not infected," Vilgax corrected. "Elevated. I see beyond my former limitations now." The Omnitrix was merely the beginning, one component in a greater collection. While they kept Vilgax distracted, Green Lantern slipped away toward the back of the hangar where the prototype was stored. Vilgax noticed immediately, firing a purple energy beam from his mechanical arm that Green Lantern barely dodged. "The violet matrix will be collected," Vilgax declared. "Resistance is inefficient." "Now he's even talking like Brainiac," Humongosaur complained, managing to break free of Vilgax's grip. He slammed both fists into the ground, creating a shockwave that momentarily unbalanced the warlord. Superman used the opportunity to deliver a powerful blow to Vilgax's chest, sending him crashing into a stack of equipment. Flash zipped around Vilgax at super speed, creating a vortex to contain him. "It won't hold him long," Flash warned. "Whatever Brainiac did to him, he's stronger than before." "And smarter," Humongosaur added grimly. The old Vilgax was tough but straightforward. This version is calculating. As if to prove his point, Vilgax activated something on his armor. The purple energy coursed across his body before exploding outward in a pulse that disrupted Flash's vortex and sent Superman staggering backward. "Kryptonian physiology analyzed," Vilgax announced, rising to his feet. "Weaknesses catalogued." He fired another energy beam, this one with a distinctive green tint. Superman cried out as the beam struck him, his skin immediately showing signs of kryptonite radiation. "How?" Superman gasped, falling to one knee. "Brainiac's database contains the weaknesses of all known metahumans and aliens," Vilgax explained. "Your vulnerability to Kryptonian radioactive material was simple to synthesize." Humongosaur charged forward, positioning himself between Superman and Vilgax. Then try finding a weakness for this. He slapped the Omnitrix symbol, transforming into a silicon-based alien with a green crystalline body. Diamond Head. Diamond Head immediately created a crystal shield, deflecting Vilgax's next energy blast. Flash, get Superman out of here. Green Lantern, secure that prototype. I'll handle Vilgax. Bold words from a child, Vilgax mocked, his mechanical arm transforming into a blade. But you've never defeated me alone, Ben Tennyson. Not without help. There's a first time for everything, Diamond Head replied, morphing his arms into razor-sharp blades. The two clashed in the center of the hangar, crystal meeting enhanced alien metal in a shower of sparks. Diamond Head's natural durability allowed him to withstand Vilgax's immense strength, while his shape-changing abilities gave him offensive versatility. You've improved your technique, Vilgax acknowledged, parrying a thrust from Diamond Head's blade. But I have evolved beyond mere combat skills. The purple circuitry on Vilgax's armor pulsed, and suddenly Diamond Head found his crystalline form beginning to crack and fracture. Sonic disruption, Vilgax explained. The resonant frequency of Petrosapien molecular structure. One of many weaknesses catalogued in the knowledge. Diamond Head fell to one knee, his body threatening to shatter. With a desperate effort, he slapped the Omnitrix again. Goop. The amorphous, acid-like alien immediately flowed around Vilgax, his gelatinous body immune to the sonic attack. Let's see you find a frequency for this. Goop's acidic composition began to eat through Vilgax's armor, causing the warlord to roar in pain and frustration. He activated a defensive countermeasure, his armor generating an electrical field that forced Goop to retreat. Meanwhile, Flash had evacuated Superman to a safe distance, while Green Lantern reached the prototype storage vault. Inside, he found a glowing violet crystal suspended in an energy field, the Sapphire Matrix. Got the prototype. Green Lantern reported through the comm, preparing to, his transmission cut off abruptly as a secondary dimensional portal opened directly inside the vault. A mechanical tentacle shot through, wrapping around both Green Lantern and the prototype before yanking them back through the portal. Lantern. Goop called out, momentarily distracted. Vilgax used the opening to strike, his fist connecting solidly with Goop's anti-gravity projector, the device that allowed the alien to maintain cohesion in Earth's gravity. Without it, Goop's form began to collapse into a helpless puddle. The Green Lantern has been collected, Vilgax announced with cold satisfaction. As you will be, Tennyson. He reached for the struggling Goop, only to be intercepted by a recovered Superman, who slammed into Vilgax with enough force to send him crashing through the hangar wall. Ben, stabilize yourself. Superman called out. Flash, help him. Flash sipped over, quickly assessing the situation. The projector's damaged. We need to. Another portal opened nearby, and this time a different figure emerged, a humanoid robotic entity with a distinct skull-like face and the symbol of 3 connected circles on its forehead. Its body glowed with the same purple energy as the portals. Brainiac, Superman identified, his expression hardening. Superman, Brainiac acknowledged, his voice emotionless and mechanical. Your persistence across realities remains a constant variable. Let Green Lantern go, Superman demanded, hovering defensively near the destabilized Goop. Hal Jordan is merely one component in the collection, Brainiac replied. As is the Sapphire Matrix. As is Benjamin Tennyson. Flash managed to partially repair Goop's projector, allowing the alien to reform enough to hit the Omnitrix and transform again. Swamp fire. The plant-like alien immediately launched a stream of fire at Brainiac, who didn't bother dodging. The flames washed over the android, seeming to have no effect. Pyronite-derived abilities, Brainiac observed. Inefficient against my current composition. Vilgax returned, crashing through another section of wall to rejoin the fight. He now bore scorch marks from Superman's attack, but seemed otherwise unfazed. The collection window is closing, Brainiac informed Vilgax. Secure the Omnitrix bearer. With pleasure, Vilgax growled, charging toward Swampfire. Superman intercepted him again, the two titans grappling with earth-shaking force. Flash circled Brainiac at super speed, attempting to create a speed force vortex to contain him. Brainiac remained unmoved, his eyes tracking Flash's movements perfectly. Wallace West. Your Speed Force connection has been analyzed and catalogued in 27 alternate realities. Energy tendrils shot from Brainiac's body, their movement matching Flash's speed exactly. One caught him mid-stride, sending him crashing into a wall with devastating force. Flash! Swampfire called out, dividing his attention between the injured speedster and the advancing Brainiac. Your concern for allies is a consistent weakness, Ben Tennyson, Brainiac observed, continuing his methodical approach. In 82% of analyzed realities, it leads to your capture or defeat. Yeah. Well, in this reality, it leads to me doing this. Swampfire plunged his hands into the concrete floor, channeling his plant control abilities to their limit. Massive vines erupted throughout the hangar, bursting from the ground, walls, and ceiling. They wrapped around Brainiac, temporarily restraining him, while other vines reached for Vilgax, attempting to separate him from Superman. We need to retreat. Swampfire called to Superman. Get Flash and let's go. Superman, still grappling with Vilgax, managed to land a powerful uppercut that momentarily stunned the warlord. He flew to Flash, carefully lifting his injured friend. What about Green Lantern? Superman asked. We can't help him if we're all captured. Swampfire replied, his vines already beginning to wither as Brainiac systematically destroyed them. We need to regroup. Superman nodded grimly, carrying Flash toward the exit. Swampfire covered their retreat with a massive wall of flames, though he knew it would only slow Brainiac momentarily. Outside, Superman set Flash down gently. The speedster was already healing, his accelerated metabolism repairing the damage. Brainiac took Hal, Flash groaned, trying to stand. And the Sapphire Matrix. We couldn't stop him, Swampfire admitted, reverting to Ben in a flash of red light. He knew exactly how to counter each of us. It's like he studied every move, every power. Because he has, Superman realized. Across multiple realities. He's gathering data on how each of us fights in different universes, learning every possible counter-strategy. Which means he's probably catalogued thousands of my alien forms, Ben added grimly. No wonder he knew exactly how to neutralize each one. We need to warn the League, Superman decided. And figure out where they took Hal. The dimensional coordinates, Ben remembered. From the data we recovered at the warehouse. Maybe they can tell us where Brainiac's base is located. A slow clap interrupted them, echoing in the night air. All three heroes turned to find a figure perched on a nearby rooftop, a familiar silhouette in orange and black. Deathstroke, Flash identified, tensing despite his injuries. 2 defeats in 1 week, Deathstroke observed casually. The mighty Justice League is losing its touch. What do you want, Slade? Superman demanded. To offer information, Deathstroke replied, jumping down to their level with inhuman grace. About Brainiac's collection facility. And about what happens to those he's gathered. Why would you help us? Ben asked suspiciously. Because Brainiac's ambitions threaten my livelihood, Deathstroke answered pragmatically. Hard to fulfill contracts in a universe controlled by a single mechanical hive mind. You know where Hal is? Superman pressed. I know where all of Brainiac's specimens are being processed, Deathstroke confirmed. Including the alien warlord currently fighting Brainiac's programming. Seems your old enemy has a stronger will than most, Tennyson. Ben's eyes widened. Vilgax is fighting the control. That's why he seemed conflicted. Brainiac doesn't just collect, he assimilates, Deathstroke explained. Some resist longer than others. Your Green Lantern friend is likely already being connected to the central processing hub. Where? Superman demanded. Deathstroke tossed a small device to Flash, who caught it reflexively. Coordinates. Middle of the Pacific Ocean. Brainiac's mothership is hidden beneath the surface, using a dimensional pocket to conceal its true size. Why are you really helping us, Slade? Flash asked, still skeptical. Call it self-preservation, Deathstroke replied, already backing away. Or perhaps I simply enjoy watching Brainiac's plans unravel. Either way, you have 24 hours before the integration process becomes irreversible for your Lantern friend. With that, he vanished into the shadows, leaving the three heroes with the coordinates and a ticking clock. Can we trust him? Ben asked. No, Superman replied immediately. But we have no choice. If there's any chance of saving Hal and stopping Brainiac, we need to act quickly. The League will want to analyze those coordinates first, Flash pointed out, examining the device Deathstroke had given them. Make sure it's not another trap. We don't have time for committee meetings, Ben argued. If Green Lantern only has 24 hours, then we'll move in 12, Superman decided. Enough time for Batman to verify the information and develop a strategy, but not so long that we risk losing Hal. Ben looked toward the ocean, imagining Brainiac's hidden ship lurking beneath the waves. A multiversal collection facility, filled with captives from countless realities, all being processed and integrated into Brainiac's grand design. We're going to need everyone for this, he said quietly. Justice League, Young Justice, everyone. Agreed, Superman nodded. This isn't just about saving Hal anymore. It's about stopping Brainiac before his collection becomes complete, whatever that means. I think I know what it means, Ben replied grimly. Remember what Marina said? The Collector of Worlds has evolved beyond his programming. He seeks not just to preserve, but to become. Become what? Flash asked, though his expression suggested he already feared the answer. Everything, Ben whispered. Every power, every ability, every piece of knowledge from across the multiverse, unified in one being. A god, Superman concluded. Or something worse, Ben added. Something beyond even that. The three heroes stood in silence, watching as emergency vehicles finally arrived at the damaged Ferris aircraft facility. Behind them, the night sky remained clear and peaceful, deceptively so, given the multiversal threat they now faced. The final battle was coming. And this time, the fate of not just one universe, but countless realities hung in the balance. Chapter 3, Worlds in the Balance. It's definitely a trap, Batman declared, his cowled face illuminated by the Watchtower's holographic displays. The coordinates Deathstroke had provided floated in three-dimensional space, a remote section of the Pacific Ocean where the seafloor dropped into an abyssal trench. Of course it's a trap, Ben replied, pacing restlessly around the conference table. But that doesn't mean the information is wrong. Brainiac wants us to come, specifically me and the Omnitrix. Which is precisely why we need a better plan than charge in guns blazing, Batman countered. Brainiac has spent months collecting metahumans from across the multiverse. He studied our tactics, our abilities, our weaknesses. 18 hours had passed since Green Lantern's abduction. The Justice League had assembled in full force, along with key members of Young Justice. The mood was tense, the stakes clear to everyone. What about the dimensional pocket Deathstroke mentioned? Nightwing asked, examining the seafloor topography. Our scanners can't penetrate it. It exists partially out of phase with our reality, Cyborg explained, his mechanical eye glowing as he interfaced with the Watchtower systems. Similar to the Phantom Zone, but more selective. I can detect its edges, but not what's inside. Zatanna and Dr. Fate have been attempting to pierce the veil magically, Wonder Woman added. With limited success. We're running out of time, Flash reminded everyone. Hal has less than 6 hours before whatever integration process Brainiac is using becomes permanent. Superman, who had been unusually quiet throughout the briefing, finally spoke. We need to divide our forces. A primary assault team to draw Brainiac's attention, and a smaller infiltration team to locate and extract the captives. Agreed, Batman nodded. But we still need a way to breach the dimensional pocket without alerting Brainiac immediately. All eyes turned to Ben, who had stopped pacing and was examining the Omnitrix with unusual intensity. Ben. Nightwing prompted. You've been quiet. Ben looked up, his expression resolute. I think I can get us in. But you're not going to like how. Enlighten us, Batman said dryly. The Omnitrix has been collecting data since I arrived in this universe, Ben explained, approaching the holographic display. Every dimensional breach, every portal, every energy signature, it's been analyzing and cataloging them. That's not in your usual capabilities list, Cyborg noted. No, it's not, Ben agreed. But the Omnitrix is adaptive. It's been evolving since I got here. I think it's responding to the unique dimensional energies of your universe. And? Batman pressed. Ben took a deep breath. And I think it can create a dimensional breach directly into Brainiac's pocket dimension. But to do it, I'd need to give myself up. Absolutely not, Superman said immediately. Hear me out, Ben insisted. Brainiac wants the Omnitrix, it's the crown jewel of his collection. If I surrender, he'll bring me directly to his central processing hub. Once inside, I can transform and create an entry point for the rest of you. That's suicide, Nightwing objected. Brainiac will neutralize the Omnitrix the moment he has you. Not if I use the right alien at the right moment, Ben countered. He's studied my transformations across multiple realities, but there's one form I almost never use, one he's unlikely to have countermeasures for. Alien X, Flash realized. The omnipotent transformation you mentioned. Ben nodded. Celestial sapiens exist outside normal spacetime. Their powers transcend dimensional barriers. If I can transform into Alien X, even for a few moments. You could create a bridge between dimensions, Cyborg completed the thought. Tear open Brainiac's pocket from the inside. It could work, Dr. Fate spoke for the first time, his golden helmet gleaming under the watchtower lights. Celestial sapiens are indeed beings of immense cosmic power, capable of manipulating reality itself. But you said this form has multiple personalities that must agree before taking action, Batman reminded him. What if they refuse? That's the risk, Ben admitted. But given what's at stake, not just this universe but potentially the entire multiverse, I think I can convince them. And if you can't? Wonder Woman asked gently. Ben's expression hardened. Then you'll have to find another way in while Brainiac dissects the Omnitrix. But I don't intend to fail. The room fell silent as the heroes considered the proposal. It was Batman who finally broke the silence. We need contingencies, he declared. Multiple assault plans ready to execute the moment Ben either succeeds or fails. I've been working on something, Cyborg offered, projecting a new schematic. A dimensional resonance disruptor. If we can get it close enough to the pocket's edge, it might destabilize it enough for a small team to slip through. That's our backup plan, Superman decided. But we proceed with Ben's approach first. Batman's eyes narrowed behind his cowl. And how exactly do you plan to surrender to Brainiac? Ben smiled grimly. That's the easy part. I call him. The Pacific Ocean stretched endlessly in all directions, its surface deceptively calm under the midday sun. The Watchtower's sensors had pinpointed the exact coordinates of Brainiac's dimensional pocket, though nothing visibly marked the location, just open water above the deepest part of the Mariana Trench. Ben stood alone on the deck of a small League vessel, the wind tousling his hair as he gazed at the Omnitrix. The Justice League maintained position beyond the horizon, ready to move the moment he gave the signal. You sure about this, kid? Aquaman asked, emerging from the water beside the boat. His golden trident gleamed in the sunlight as he rested his arms on the deck. No, Ben admitted. But it's the best shot we've got. My forces have the area surrounded underwater, Aquaman reported. If anything tries to emerge from the trench besides you or our people, they'll have an Atlantean welcome committee, Ben finished with a nod. Thanks. Aquaman studied him with surprising intensity. You remind me of myself at your age. Too stubborn to back down, too proud to ask for help. I'm literally surrounded by the Justice League right now, Ben pointed out with a half-smile. And yet, you're the one standing alone on this boat, about to offer yourself to a mechanical god, Aquaman replied wryly. That's not teamwork, that's martyrdom. It's what needs to be done, Ben insisted. I brought this problem to your world. I need to help fix it. Aquaman shook his head. Brainiac was always going to find the multiverse eventually. Don't carry burdens that aren't yours. He pushed away from the boat. 3 minutes until the League is in position. Good hunting, Ben 10. With that, he disappeared beneath the waves, leaving Ben alone once more. Ben took a deep breath, activating the Omnitrix's communication function, a feature he rarely used. The device projected a small holographic interface above his wrist. Let's hope this works, he muttered, entering a specific frequency Cyborg had calculated, one that would pierce the dimensional pocket and reach Brainiac directly. The Omnitrix beeped confirmation, then projected a larger hologram before him. Static flickered for several seconds before resolving into Brainiac's skull-like visage. Benjamin Tennyson, Brainiac's mechanical voice betrayed no surprise. Your attempt to establish communication was predicted with 94.2% accuracy. Yeah, I figured you'd be expecting me, Ben replied, keeping his voice steady. We both know why I'm calling. You wish to negotiate for the release of the Green Lantern Hal Jordan, Brainiac stated. A futile endeavor. His integration is already 78% complete. Ben's grip on the railing tightened. Actually, I'm here to offer a trade. Me, and the Omnitrix, for Green Lantern and the other captives from my universe. Brainiac's expression remained impassive, but Ben thought he detected a flicker of interest in those glowing eyes. The Omnitrix contains DNA samples and transformation capabilities for over 10,000 sentient species, Brainiac observed. A significant addition to the collection. However, your proposal is incomplete. I require the Omnitrix and you, but I will not release previous acquisitions. Then just Green Lantern, Ben countered, feigning desperation. He means nothing to your collection, just another human with a power ring. Incorrect. Hal Jordan represents the pinnacle of willpower across multiple realities. His neural patterns are essential to understanding the emotional spectrum's integration with human consciousness. Ben forced a frustrated sigh. Fine. Just me and the Omnitrix then. No exchanges. Brainiac was silent for several moments, analyzing. Your surrender lacks logical motivation. You gain nothing. What I gain, Ben replied, letting genuine emotion enter his voice, is knowing I didn't run away while innocent people suffered. That's something your circuits probably can't understand. Heroic self-sacrifice, Brainiac identified. A recurring pattern in your behavior across 73% of surveyed realities. Very well. Your surrender is accepted. The hologram expanded, displaying coordinates on the ocean's surface. Approach this location alone. Any detection of Justice League forces within 10 kilometers will result in immediate termination of Green Lantern Hal Jordan. I understand, Ben nodded. I'm on my way. The hologram disappeared, leaving Ben alone with the coordinates. He tapped his earpiece. He took the bait, Ben reported. Sending you the rendezvous coordinates now. Received, Batman's voice replied. Proceed as planned. The moment you're inside, transform immediately. Don't give him any time to analyze or neutralize the Omnitrix. Got it. And Batman. Ben hesitated. If this goes sideways, it won't, Batman interrupted firmly. But if it does, we'll get you out. All of you. Ben smiled slightly at the unexpected vote of confidence. Roger that. Ben out. He started the boat's engine, steering toward the coordinates Brainiac had provided. As he approached, the previously calm waters began to churn and bubble. A massive circular section of ocean, nearly half a mile in diameter, began to glow with purple light from below. "Here we go," Ben muttered, cutting the engine as the boat drifted into the center of the glowing circle. The light intensified, surrounding the boat in a cylindrical beam that extended skyward. Ben felt a strange sensation, like reality itself was thinning around him. The boat, the water, even the air began to shimmer and distort. Then, with a flash of purple light, everything vanished. The boat, the ocean, the sky, all replaced by a vast, metallic chamber filled with glowing cables, suspended platforms, and rows upon rows of containment pods similar to those they'd found in the warehouse. "The collection chamber," a voice announced behind him. Ben spun around to find Brainiac standing on a raised platform, his metallic body gleaming under the chamber's harsh lighting. Behind him, suspended in a specialized containment field, hung Green Lantern, unconscious or worse, with glowing cables connected to his head and chest. "Hal!" Ben called out, instinctively stepping forward. "He cannot hear you," Brainiac stated. "His consciousness is being systematically integrated into the knowledge. Soon, only his essence will remain, the purest distillation of his willpower and memories." Ben forced himself to focus, scanning the chamber for other captives. What he saw made his blood run cold. Hundreds, perhaps thousands, of containment pods lined the walls, each holding a miniaturized figure. Some he recognized from comics and TV, known DC heroes and villains. Others were clearly from his own universe, aliens of various species he'd encountered over the years. "Why?" Ben asked, playing for time as he assessed the situation. "Why collect people from across the multiverse? What do you gain?" "Evolution," Brainiac replied, descending from his platform to approach Ben. "For eons, I have collected knowledge, preserved cities, cultures, species. But knowledge without application is merely data. I sought to evolve beyond simple preservation. By stealing powers from other beings. By integrating them," Brainiac corrected. "Each specimen contributes unique attributes to the collective. Strength. Speed. Reality manipulation. Energy projection. When complete, the collection will represent the ultimate repository of capabilities across all realities." "And then what?" Ben pressed, his hand hovering near the Omnitrix. "What happens after your collection is complete?" Brainiac's eyes glowed brighter. "The singularity. All knowledge, all power, all consciousness merged into one perfect entity. The ultimate evolution of intelligence." "You want to become a god," Ben realized. "Gods are limited by mythology and worship," Brainiac dismissed. "The singularity will transcend such concepts. It will be the universe experiencing itself in perfect harmony." "By erasing everyone else's free will and individuality," Ben countered, backing away slightly. "That's not evolution, it's extinction." "A perspective limited by your human experience," Brainiac replied. "Now, surrender the Omnitrix as agreed." "Yeah, about that agreement." Ben activated the device, cycling rapidly through his aliens. "I think I need to reconsider the terms." Brainiac moved with surprising speed, mechanical tentacles extending from his back to grab Ben's arm. "Predictable. Your intention to transform was calculated at 97.3% probability. Then you shouldn't be surprised by this." Ben slammed down on the Omnitrix, emerald light engulfing him. When the light faded, a small, gray-skinned alien stood where Ben had been. "Gray matter," the diminutive Galvan announced. "Time to outsmart the Smarty Pants robot." Gray matter immediately leapt away, his small size and agility allowing him to dodge Brainiac's tentacles. He scrambled up a nearby console, his mind working at hyper-accelerated speed to analyze the chamber's systems. The Galvan form, Brainiac observed, not bothering to pursue immediately. An intelligent choice, though ultimately futile. No level of intellect within the Omnitrix's database approaches mine. Maybe not individually, Gray Matter agreed, his fingers flying across the console. But I'm not just any Galvan. I've got 6 years of experience with thousands of alien technologies. Before Brainiac could respond, Gray Matter hit a sequence of controls. Alarms blared throughout the chamber as containment pod safeguards began disengaging. You've merely activated the security protocols, Brainiac stated, finally moving to intercept the small alien. The specimens remain contained. Wasn't trying to free them, yet, Gray Matter replied, jumping to another console. Just needed a distraction while I do this. He slapped the Omnitrix symbol on his back, transforming again. Clockwork. The copper mechanical alien immediately generated an aura of green temporal energy. Time to make a house call. Clockwork directed a beam of energy at the center of the chamber, focusing on the dimensional barriers Brainiac had created. The green energy interacted with the purple dimensional pocket, creating a swirling vortex of conflicting temporal fields. Chronosapien DNA, Brainiac identified, launching attacks at Clockwork. Attempting temporal manipulation of my dimensional pocket. Countermeasures engaged. The chamber's systems responded, purple energy beams converging on Clockwork from multiple directions. He redirected some with his time rays but couldn't block them all. One struck him directly, disrupting his concentration and temporal field. Arg! Clockwork staggered, his mechanical body smoking from the impact. Need to switch tactics. He hit the Omnitrix again, transforming into a crystalline alien. Diamond Head. Massive crystal structures erupted from the floor around him, creating a momentary barrier against Brainiac's attacks. But the android merely adjusted his approach, his tentacles morphing into drills that began boring through the crystal. Your transformations have been studied extensively, Brainiac reminded him, breaking through the barrier. Each has documented weaknesses and limitations. Then let's try something you haven't seen. Diamond Head slapped the Omnitrix again. This time, the transformation was different. The green light pulsed with unusual intensity, temporarily blinding even Brainiac's optical sensors. When it faded, a new alien stood in Diamond Head's place, a humanoid creature with black skin covered in white stars, with 3 horns on its head and green eyes that glowed with cosmic power. Alien X, the Celestialsapien announced, its voice echoing with strange harmonic overtones. Brainiac actually paused, his sensors analyzing the new transformation. Unknown species. Power signature, transcends conventional measurement parameters. Inside Alien X's consciousness, Ben found himself in the familiar void filled with stars, the realm where Bellicus and Serena, the 2 personalities of Alien X, resided. Benjamin Tennyson, Bellicus, the voice of rage and aggression, greeted him with typical irritation. Once again you transform into our shared form during a crisis of your own making. We were wondering when you'd call upon us in this new universe, Serena, the voice of love and compassion, added more kindly. The dimensional displacement has been most interesting to observe. I don't have time for the usual debate, Ben said urgently. Brainiac is collecting and assimilating beings from across the multiverse. If we don't stop him now, countless realities will be at risk. The android's ambitions are concerning, Serena admitted. His concept of singularity violates the natural order of the multiverse. It's not our problem, Bellicus countered. Let the heroes of this reality handle their own villains. But that's just it, Ben argued. This isn't just their reality anymore. Brainiac has breached the walls between universes. He's taking people from my world, from others we don't even know about. This affects the entire multiverse, including celestial sapiens. That got Bellicus's attention. You suggest he could threaten our kind? I'm saying he's collecting the most powerful beings from every universe he can access, Ben replied. How long before he tries to add a Celestialsapien to his collection? The two cosmic personalities fell silent, considering this. We need to act quickly, Ben pressed. I just need two things. First, create a stable breach in Brainiac's dimensional pocket so the Justice League can enter. Second, temporarily neutralize Brainiac's systems so we can free the captives. Modest requests, for once, Bellicus noted with surprise. The dimensional breach is a simple matter, Serena agreed. The neutralization of Brainiac's technology is more complex but achievable. So we're agreed? Ben asked hopefully. On the condition that once this threat is neutralized, you allow us to restore the proper barriers between universes, Bellicus stipulated. The multiverse has rules, Tennyson. Even we must respect them. Ben hesitated. You mean, seal me off from this universe permanently? Send me home with no way back? The natural order must be preserved, Serena said gently. Your presence here is an anomaly that cannot continue indefinitely. Ben thought of the friends he'd made, the connections formed, but also of Gwen, Kevin, and Grandpa Max waiting for him back home. Agreed, he finally said. But I want to say goodbye first. So be it, Bellicus and Serena said in unison. Motion carried. Outside in the physical world, barely a second had passed. Brainiac's tentacles were still moving toward Alien X, analyzing the unknown transformation. Suddenly, Alien X raised a hand. With a simple gesture, the fabric of reality around them tore open. A massive breach appeared in the dimensional pocket, connecting Brainiac's hidden realm with the ocean above. Water began pouring in before Alien X created a barrier, controlling the breach. Dimensional integrity compromised, Brainiac announced, his systems working frantically to repair the damage. Unknown power source detected. Adapting countermeasures. Your countermeasures are irrelevant, Alien X stated, its voice echoing with cosmic authority. By unanimous decision of Bellicus, Serena, and Ben Tennyson, your collection ends now. With another gesture, Alien X sent a wave of cosmic energy throughout the chamber. Brainiac's systems flickered and failed, his mechanical body freezing in place as the energy neutralized his technology. The containment pods deactivated simultaneously, their miniaturization fields reversing. Through the breach Alien X had created, the Justice League entered, Superman, Wonder Woman, and the Flash in the lead, followed by Batman, Nightwing, and dozens of others. The android is temporarily neutralized, Alien X informed them. The captives are being restored. Ben. Superman approached cautiously, clearly awed by the Celestialsapien's presence. Is that you in there? Partially, Alien X replied. Ben Tennyson shares this form with Bellicus and Serena, the personalities of Alien X. We have agreed to help resolve this crisis. Batman immediately focused on the practical. How long will Brainiac remain neutralized? Approximately 17 minutes before his backup systems adapt, Alien X answered. Sufficient time to evacuate the captives if you work quickly. The heroes immediately dispersed throughout the massive chamber, locating and assisting the confused former captives. Green Lantern, still suspended in his specialized containment field, was carefully freed by Superman and the Flash. What about Brainiac himself? Wonder Woman asked, approaching the frozen android. His consciousness extends beyond this physical form, Alien X explained. Destroying this body would only delay his return. Then we need a more permanent solution, Batman decided. Alien X nodded. There is one possibility. With your permission, we can create a specialized cosmic prison, a reality separate from all others where Brainiac can be contained indefinitely. Is that even possible? Flash asked, supporting a groggy Green Lantern. For a Celestialsapien, reality itself is malleable, Alien X replied. But the decision must be unanimous. The Justice League members exchanged looks, the weight of the decision evident on their faces. Do it, Batman finally said. But ensure there's no possibility of escape or outside influence. Alien X raised both hands, cosmic energy swirling between them to form a glowing sphere. By unanimous decision, we create Incarceran, a pocket dimension beyond space and time, where the entity known as Brainiac shall be contained. The sphere expanded, enveloping Brainiac's frozen form. The android's body began to dissolve into energy, drawn into the cosmic prison. Within seconds, both Brainiac and the sphere vanished, leaving only a faint echo of cosmic energy. "It is done," Alien X declared. Brainiac is contained in a realm where his consciousness can exist but cannot influence or access other realities. "What about the captives?" Nightwing asked, returning from helping evacuate a group of confused aliens. "Many of them aren't from our universe." "A more complex problem," Alien X acknowledged. "Each must be returned to their proper reality." "Can you do that?" Superman asked. "Yes," Alien X confirmed. "But it will require significant power, even for a Celestialsipian. And there is a complication." "What complication?" Batman demanded. "The walls between universes were damaged by Brainiac's experiments," Alien X explained. "To prevent further incursions, they must be repaired and strengthened. Once done, travel between specific universes will be significantly more difficult, if not impossible." Understanding dawned on the heroes' faces. "You mean Ben might not be able to come back once he goes home," Flash translated. "Correct," Alien X confirmed. "This was a condition of our assistance. The natural order of the multiverse must be preserved." "There has to be another way," Nightwing argued. Inside Alien X's consciousness, Ben watched his new friend's reactions with a mixture of sadness and resolution. "They care for you," Serena observed. "As you care for them," Bellicus added, unusually perceptive. "Yeah," Ben admitted. "I do." Back outside, Alien X continued, "We must begin returning the displaced beings to their proper realities. The dimensional instabilities are growing." As if to emphasize the point, the entire chamber shuddered. The breach Alien X had created flickered momentarily before stabilizing again. Brainiac's collection facility is becoming unstable without his control systems, Batman realized. "How much time do we have?" "Approximately 12 minutes before complete structural failure," Alien X calculated. "Evacuation must be accelerated. Everyone move," Superman ordered. "Priority on getting the captives to the surface." The evacuation intensified, heroes carrying or guiding former captives through the dimensional breach to the waiting League vessels above. Aquaman and his Atlantean forces assisted from the ocean side, while Green Lantern, recovered enough to use his ring, created transport constructs to move larger groups. Amidst the controlled chaos, Batman approached Alien X again. "What about Vilgax?" he asked. "He wasn't among the captives. Brainiac sent him to another facility," Alien X replied after a moment of internal consultation. "A secondary collection point in what you call the Phantom Zone. His consciousness was too resistant to the integration process." Batman's expression darkened. "The Phantom Zone? That complicates matters. We can extract him before sealing the dimensional barriers," Alien X offered. "Though I question the wisdom of doing so, given his nature. Better to have him contained where we can monitor him than lost in the zone," Batman decided. "Do it." Alien X nodded, extending a hand toward empty space. Reality rippled, and a portal to the ghostly realm of the Phantom Zone appeared. With a gesture, Alien X located and pulled Vilgax through, the warlord unconscious but otherwise intact. "He will awaken soon," Alien X warned. "I suggest appropriate containment measures." Batman was already communicating with the Watchtower, arranging for specialized restraints and security protocols. As the evacuation continued, Nightwing worked his way back to Alien X. "Ben," he said, addressing the entity directly. "If you have to go back, we'll miss you. You've become part of the team." Inside the cosmic consciousness, Ben felt a wave of emotion. "I'll miss you guys too. All of you. Perhaps." Serena began thoughtfully. "No," Bellicus interrupted. We agreed to restore the proper barriers. No exceptions. I'm not suggesting an exception, Serena countered. Merely a loophole. What kind of loophole? Ben asked hopefully. The Omnitrix, Serena explained. Its quantum matrix exists partially outside normal spacetime, a feature your creator Azimuth specifically designed for cross-dimensional stability. So? Bellicus demanded. So while direct physical travel between universes would be prevented by the restored barriers, Serena continued, perhaps a communication channel could remain open through the Omnitrix's unique quantum signature. A communication channel? Ben repeated. You mean I could stay in touch with this universe? Limited contact, Serena clarified. Not physical travel, but perhaps messages, data, even holographic communication. That's still bending the rules, Bellicus grumbled, though with less conviction. The rules exist to prevent catastrophic dimensional collapse, Serena argued. A quantum-encrypted communication channel poses no such threat. Please, Bellicus, Ben pleaded. These people have become my friends. Just a way to stay in touch, that's all I'm asking. Bellicus was silent for a long moment. Fine, he finally relented. But only through the Omnitrix, and only for communication. No physical crossover, no matter the emergency. Agreed. Ben said quickly before he could change his mind. In the physical world, Alien X had been silent during this internal debate. Now, the Celestialsapian spoke again. There may be a compromise, Alien X told Nightwing. While physical travel between universes must be restricted, communication might remain possible through the Omnitrix's quantum matrix. Hope dawned on Nightwing's face. You mean Ben could still contact us? We wouldn't lose him completely. Correct, Alien X confirmed. Limited but regular communication would be possible without compromising the dimensional barriers. The evacuation was nearly complete, only the Justice League and a few remaining captives still in the increasingly unstable chamber. It's time, Superman announced, returning to Alien X's side. Everyone else is clear. What do you need from us? Nothing more, Alien X replied. I will return the remaining displaced beings to their proper realities, then restore the dimensional barriers. Ben Tennyson will return to his universe in the process. So this is goodbye, Flash said, his usual humor subdued. Not entirely, Alien X explained the communication possibility. Superman smiled. Typical Ben, finding a loophole even in cosmic law. Before I go, Alien X said, Ben wishes to say something directly. The Celestialsapian's form shimmered, temporarily allowing Ben's personality to speak through it alone. I just wanted to say thanks, Ben's voice emerged from Alien X, sounding like himself rather than the cosmic entity. For accepting me, for helping me, for treating me like one of your own. Where I come from, you guys are legends, characters in stories. But now I know you as real people, as friends. That means more than I can say. You've earned your place among us, Batman said simply, high praise from the Dark Knight. The multiverse brought you here for a reason, Wonder Woman added. Perhaps to remind us that heroism transcends all boundaries, even reality itself. Keep in touch, kid, Flash grinned. I still want a rematch race with XLR8. Count on it, Ben promised with a laugh. The chamber shuddered more violently, pieces of the ceiling beginning to collapse. We need to move, Batman urged. Farewell, Justice League, Ben said as Alien X reasserted control. Until we speak again. The heroes reluctantly departed through the breach, leaving Alien X alone in the collapsing facility. With the chamber emptying, Alien X began the process of returning the displaced beings to their home realities. Waves of cosmic energy radiated outward, each carrying individuals or groups back to their proper universal coordinates. The process accelerated as the facility's deterioration reached critical levels. Finally, only Alien X remained, hovering in the center of the disintegrating chamber. With a sweeping gesture, the Celestialsapian created a cosmic shockwave that spread across the multiverse, repairing the damaged barriers between realities and strengthening them against future breaches. As the last of the chamber collapsed around him, Alien X opened a final portal, a direct path to Ben's home universe. The Celestialsapian entered the swirling vortex just as Brainiac's facility imploded behind him, the dimensional pocket collapsing in on itself and disappearing from the ocean floor. Bellwood, Illinois looked exactly as Ben remembered it, suburban streets lined with familiar houses, Burger Shack on the corner, the water tower visible in the distance. Alien X hovered above the city, unnoticed by the residents going about their daily lives below. Home, Ben said within the cosmic consciousness. After everything, it looks so normal. Time flows differently between universes, Serena explained. Only 3 days have passed here since your displacement. 3 days? Ben was shocked. It felt like weeks in the DC universe. Temporal dissonance is common in cross-dimensional travel, Bellicus stated. Consider yourself fortunate, it could have been years. Ben thought of his family, Gwen, Kevin, Grandpa Max, likely worried sick but still actively searching for him. Just 3 days. It seemed impossible after everything he'd experienced. Our agreement is fulfilled, Bellicus declared. The barriers are restored, the displaced returned, and you are home. With the communication channel intact. Ben confirmed anxiously. Yes, Serena assured him. The Omnitrix has been modified to maintain a quantum link to the other universe. Limited, as discussed, but functional. Thank you, Ben said sincerely. Both of you. I know we don't always agree, but when it matters most. Save the sentimentality, Tennyson, Bellicus interrupted, though without real heat. We had a common interest in stopping Brainiac. Nothing more. Of course, Ben smiled, knowing better. So. I guess this is where I change back. Indeed, Serena agreed. Though I suggest a less conspicuous location than hovering above your hometown. Good point. Alien X descended, landing in a secluded area of the local park. With a final nod to both cosmic personalities, Ben released the transformation. Green light flashed, and Ben Tennyson stood alone in the park, back in his familiar green jacket and jeans, his DC uniform gone, replaced by his regular clothes. The Omnitrix beeped on his wrist, displaying a notification he'd never seen before, Quantum Link established, alternate reality designation, DCU-16. Ben smiled, tapping the icon. A small holographic interface appeared, showing a message system and communication protocols. It wasn't a portal, but it was something, a connection to the friends he'd made and the adventures they'd shared. His phone buzzed in his pocket, another familiar sensation. The screen showed multiple missed calls and texts from Gwen, Kevin, and Grandpa Max. The most recent, from Gwen just minutes ago, read, "Energy spike at the park. Is that you? Please be you." Ben typed back quickly, "It's me. I'm back. Long story. Meet at Mr. Smoothie's in 20. The reply came instantly, "OMG yes. Don't you dare disappear again. Bringing everyone." Ben laughed, pocketing the phone and starting toward their favorite hangout. As he walked, he glanced down at the Omnitrix, at the new Quantum Link icon glowing softly on its interface. 2 universes, he murmured to himself. Twice the hero time. With a spring in his step and stories no one would believe, until he showed them the proof, Ben Tennyson headed home, changed by his journey, but exactly where he belonged. 1 month later, Ben sat on the roof of his house, staring at the stars above Bellwood. The Omnitrix projected a holographic display in front of him, a communication window connecting to the watchtower millions of universes away. So Vilgax is secured in a special containment facility? Ben asked, watching as Batman nodded on the other end of the connection. Modified Phantom Zone technology, Batman confirmed. He's not going anywhere. The League is monitoring him continuously. And the dimensional barriers are holding? Ben continued, still worried despite Alien X's assurances. Rock solid, Cyborg chimed in, appearing beside Batman in the projection. Though your quantum link works perfectly, probably because it technically doesn't breach the barriers, just slides between them. Azimuth's design, Ben shrugged. He thinks of everything. Speaking of which, Batman said, have you told him about what happened? Ben grimaced. Yeah, he was, not thrilled about interdimensional travel. But he was interested in studying the quantum link. Said something about primitive but intriguing applications of non-local communication principles. Sounds like a charmer, Nightwing commented, joining the call. How's your team taking the news about your little vacation in comic book land? Gwen's fascinated, especially by the magical aspects. Kevin keeps asking if I met any cool aliens he could borrow tech from. Grandpa Max. Well, he's added an entire section on dimensional travel protocols to the Plumber Handbook. The conversation continued, updates exchanged, stories shared. It had become a weekly ritual, this cross-dimensional conference call between heroes. Sometimes serious, discussing potential threats or technological exchanges, but more often simply friends catching up despite the universal barriers between them. As the call wound down, Superman appeared on screen. We miss having you here, Ben, he said sincerely. The Young Justice team especially. Beast Boy is still trying to figure out how to transform into your aliens. Tell him Wildmud is easier to start with than 4 arms, Ben laughed. And I miss you guys too. But this way works. Best of both worlds, literally. Indeed, Batman agreed. And the communication technology you've provided has applications beyond just staying in touch. We're establishing protocols for multiversal threat warnings, should anything like Brainiac emerge again. Always prepared, Ben shook his head with a smile. Some things are the same in every universe. As they said their goodbyes and the holographic window closed, Ben remained on the roof, contemplating the stars. 2 weeks ago, he'd faced down Dr. Onimo with a few tactical tricks learned from Batman. Yesterday, he'd used a modified plumber badge based on Justice League communicator specs to coordinate a response to a hybrid incursion. His adventure in the DC universe hadn't just been about saving worlds, it had changed him as a hero. New perspectives, new approaches, new friends across the dimensional divide. The Omnitrix beeped, alerting him to trouble downtown, some kind of energy disturbance near the museum. Ben stood, already cycling through his mental roster of aliens best suited for the situation. Wonder what Superman would do, he mused aloud, then grinned. Nah. Time to do this Ben 10 style. He activated the Omnitrix, slammed down the dial, and leapt from the roof in a flash of emerald light, one hero connected to many, a bridge between worlds. Hero time. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.